Hey guys, real quick before we start the video, I want to direct you to the community tab on my channel. I am currently running an event for you, the viewers, to rate every single Monster Hunter monster from 1 to 5 stars. This project is going to be a bit of a run back from the 20th anniversary popularity poll and is meant to allow everyone to voice their opinion on every monster, so we can get a big picture look at how the whole community feels about the entire Monster Hunter bestiary. There will be a new poll on the community tab every single day at noon Eastern Standard Time, and all polls will remain live on the channel, so you can answer any of them at any time. You will not miss out if you miss the poll for the day. I will be updating numbers all the way from now until the end of October when the last polls have been run, and in October or November, we're going to have a massive video event where your comments will be read, all the numbers will be crunched, and the monsters will be reordered based on how you all voted. Every vote on every poll matters, and anyone has a chance to have their comment read in the video itself. And if you want to help me get more data and reach the broader Monster Hunter community, I'd appreciate a like on this video and, maybe hit the subscribe button to help this channel grow. It'll put me and this project in front of more eyes. Okay, no more YouTuber CTA shilling. Here's the video you actually clicked on. Thank you. So, just in case you don't keep up with everything we do around here, Austin, your guy from the knee-jerk reaction tier lists, has now completed a Monster Hunter game in full. Myself and the guys have been streaming Monster Hunter World, and we have gotten all the way through Xeno'jiiva and are working into Iceborne currently. So Austin has fought every single monster from the base game of World. Everything from the story and all the DLC monsters and crossovers and all that good stuff. And you know Austin, he is an opinionated man. And we decided it would be some good old fun if we sat down and we got all of Austin's thoughts in a row. And we know you guys like your tier lists. Everybody likes your tier lists. And Austin's going to be smacking them all up on the list and going over every single monster from base game Monster Hunter World. Much like the Frontier knee-jerk, this was live streamed, so if you haven't caught the stream and don't watch VODs, this is your opportunity to see all of his opinions of all the monsters from World. And we hope you enjoy, and let's get into the video. Alright, I think we got our guy. Do we have our guy? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I knocked my headphone cord out right as I was about to speak.
Alright, Austin, I have been explaining to the lovely folks at home, just kind of going back over things and what we're planning on doing, what your system is. You'll know everything better than me, so would you like to inform the lovely folks watching us, all currently 72 of them, how exactly we're going to proceed today?
Okay, so the way I made my list, I'm not going to lie to you and say that I took everything into consideration, because I didn't. I don't want you to think that like I was watching videos and like followed each monster around for 45 minutes to watch what they did when you weren't fighting them. So I didn't do all that. So I didn't take like turf wars into consideration or anything like that. I just pretty much took the monster itself, the fight of the actual monster, and not really the weapons, because I didn't feel like going through every single weapon, and the armor. So those are the 3 big points, and I like to think that I made the list good enough so that way there isn't a single monster that's like garbage at 2 things, but like it's S because it's like a cool looking monster. Like I like, there's a lot of monsters on here that like really might be good at something, but then there's something that's really bad and it's gonna drag them down. There's definitely a couple shockers on here, and definitely some things that will get people mad. Really mad. Like horribly mad, but that's life, right? So that's what you got to deal with. It's my list, so I don't really care what order we go in. I ordered it kind of in like how you run into them, so I did like the ancient forest first, and then I did like the the Wildspire next.
Yeah, that's how I'm like roughly ordering them by power level at the moment. So I know we don't want to like comment too much on things just yet, but like I said, I went in and with like rough recreation, I went and I replaced all of your knee-jerk reactions on a tier list. Now, like this is spread over like the course of like 3 different tier lists. So some of these are like very like roughly approximated, because like Kieran was on one, Xeno was on another, because this is a 1st gen monster, this is a 5th gen monster. So like they're all on the tiers that you place them in a very kind of like rough order. But I thought it'd be a lot of fun to like go back and forth and look at where you put things on gut gut reaction and where things will actually turn up. Because I don't know all of your placements just yet, but I know that some of this stuff is
there's some brutal takes on here. I'm looking at them right now. Yeah. So let's get to work. I have all my notes. I took time and I literally fought like every monster one-on-one.
I think we agree we're gonna do like a rough power level type of thing, not super ordered, but I'll give you a name and we'll go from there. We'll chat about the guys. So we'll start with Rusty Trusty, the very first monster in the game, your first large boss monster in Monster Hunter, that being the Great Jagras.
He's cool. He's classic. Like you said, the very first guy you really run into, and it's like your first big monster that you actually get to like really fight. He's fine. Visually, he's a big lizard with dreadlocks. He's cool. The color scheme is there. The fight, not so much. I mean, I understand like his job is kind of to be that like intro monster, and like that's kind of it. And he's not supposed to be hard. And also another thing, I played low rank, high rank. I didn't use master rank gear on any of this. And I also didn't take tempereds into this. I just the monsters themselves. His fight is fine. He doesn't do a whole lot that anybody, with a brain can't handle. So I don't really think that he's like even that necessarily amazing of like a starter monster, because I think he's just boring and too easy. I quite literally have fought him twice. When you guys fought him with me and when I fought him for this list. Mm-hmm. That kind of tells you all you need to know. The armor is kind of meh.
It's not the best.
It's just okay. And the weapons are cool. I think the weapons are cool. I didn't take all the weapons into consideration, but if they had cool ones, I kind of put it in there.
Sure.
But he's just okay, and I want to preface, mid is nothing's wrong with mid. Mid has carried this negative connotation. Mid is fine.
Yeah, no, like going by actual definition of mid, it's medium.
High is above average, and mid is just, he's fine, he's good. Garbo, that's bad. Like if you're below mid, that's bad. The monster itself, I would put in low high. The fight is kind of mid, and then the armor is kind of mid. So I think that kind of drags him down into high mid area.
Okay.
But I'm gonna put him in mid just because I think that's kind of his whole aesthetic. He's fine. He's fine. But again, if you had to say, hey, let's go to the ancient forest, what are we hunting? It ain't him. Mm-hmm. I tell you that it ain't him. He doesn't have an OST. I know they kind of all have they all have the OST, the same OST. It's just Ancient Forest Big Monster.
Yep.
But I'll get to the point of what I mean, like when we get to the monster I'm talking about, but it just doesn't feel right for his kind of fight. So he's fine. He's just a big lizard. I guess you really can't go wrong with it. Cool looking, kind of boring in actual fighting him.
Yeah, not for like the purposes of swaying your opinion, but just for like kind of more like the sake of conversation. You mind if like
I was gonna say, in order to make this a long enough stream, you need to give some back and forth. So let's debate. Let's give it to me. I'm gonna be reading chat. Like let's get to it.
So, I don't particularly disagree with you. I think, Great Jagras to me very much seems like he was designed with the knowledge that World was going to be the first Monster Hunter for a lot of people. So, there's a number of, like, starting out monsters that are considerably more interesting than he is. And, I think he is very much kind of designed around, he's this big, pudgy, fat lizard with some like pretty big telegraphs to his attacks, because like they wanted people to get in there and be able to take out a boss monster and feel like, okay, I got this. I definitely feel like he's kind of that. What I do actually really kind of like about him is the way he's kind of set up and introduced. I feel like he really kind of showcases what World is all about, because it's the first Monster Hunter game that has open areas and open maps and no loading zones in between things, and they're really kind of going for like a fleshed out ecosystem type of thing. So you see Great Jagras, he comes waddling out of the trees and he swallows up an Aptonaut. So like cool, they're like interacting with one another. He goes back into the caves and he regurgitates the Aptonaut up for the little Jagras to eat. And then you have like Anjanath that comes barreling in and he can beat the snot out of this guy. So I think like Great Jagras does a really cool job of establishing kind of like the thesis statement of Worlds a little bit, that it's definitely kind of introducing new people into things. It's also like the animals are supposed to be like very ecologically connected to one another and that there's supposed to be a hierarchy. And I appreciate that fact about him a lot. But in terms of like the first monster that you fight in a game, I definitely think he's towards the bottom of that particular list in terms of like combat intrigue.
Yeah, there are definitely, when you think of like other games and their intro to the game, you could do better.
Yeah.
He's fine. And like someone just said it, Laviantina said it in the chat. The point is that he's a punching bag.
Oh yeah.
That's like his job, but like even still, he's kind of just like a joke. And so yeah, but like mid is fine. That means he's okay. Like,
right.
Could he be better? Of course, but he's just fine.
Yeah, he's about as average as possible. But I think is fitting. But yeah, no, I think there are other starting monsters who have done this job better than him. But I get what he was going for. All right, so we'll kind of stick with like the lowest rung of power levels. So we're at like the bottom 5. So we're gonna go with his cousin, the great Girros.
It's such a shame, man, because like visibly, this guy looks pretty cool. He's a big lizard snake. Like, he's a cool looking monster, but like, God, is he forgettable. Like, even more forgettable than Jagras. Like, if you didn't go out of your way to really find him, you could go the game and not even like realize that he's there. Underrated is like, that's not quite what I'd call it. I'd call it boring. He's not good. His little pack is even more annoying than the other Jagrases. Oh, pull up his armor. Let's look at his armor. It's cool. It's cool looking armor. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's, like I said, it's not armor that I'd wear, but it's cool. You can't say it's not cool. Yeah, like I guess you could, like, if you really want to get like into the nitty gritty, someone just said like he introduces paralysis and the importance of dynamic break parts. Murdoch says it best. Murdoch just said it, underutilized. Like, I feel like it could have been cool, but they just never used him. Does he even have like a cutscene? I don't remember if he does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, see, fooled me. I don't remember. I just feel like it could have been cool, because if you look at him, he's cool. But nothing else he does is cool. When I went to fight him, it took like 46 seconds. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just nothing special, and he's worse than Jagras. I personally don't even, when this monster starts waddling by me, see you later. Like, whatever. I don't even look at him. He's a joke. When he tries to show up and like you're fighting friggin' Odogaron and Bazelgeuse or something, and then like he waddles in, it's like, oh dude, go away. You're out of your league. Like, what are we doing? I really found myself not liking him. So he's below Jagras. In not Garbo, he's in low mid. I just didn't care for him. I didn't care for him at all. I wish he did more. I wish there was just something more exciting. Paralysis is like, oh, okay, like arguably one of the more annoying, like a status effect, but and that's a good point, Snappy. Where you fight him in the Rotten Vale is just the worst location in the Rotten Vale. I didn't really take that into consideration, but it's true. Yeah, I just don't like him. I don't like him at all. He's all right.
Okay.
He's less than all right. I think... I think, like you said, there's some cool things about Jagras that I like personality-wise. I don't like Girros. I say that about a lot of monsters. I wish there was more, because I just feel like they didn't do anything with him. Mm-hmm. His fight is boring. His moves are boring. When he calls like the little dudes to come help him, that's the coolest part. Yeah. And then you swing once and they're like all dead. I'll say it again. I do like the Wild West, like, Plague Doctor mix. That's pretty cool. Not my vibe, but it's cool. So yeah, I mean, he looks cool, but everything else is just kind of bad or boring. Mm-hmm. So I feel justified where he is. Right. I wish he did more.
I think I personally am in camp underrated for Great Girros, at least for a little bit, because I think a lot of people share your sentiments. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't remember him. I think, like, as a paralysis monster, I think he's fine. Specifically because there's like a little bit of like build up to it, so it's not paralysis. Like, that'd be mega annoying. His roster of attacks are interesting. What I do like about him is that since he's like a lot less chunky than Girros, his moveset is a little bit different. I think with a lot of the older games, when you get into a lot of like the groups of the greats, like Great Girros, like Great Jagras, when you get like these like groups of starter monsters that they tend to recycle a lot of moves. I like that Girros kind of is able to step aside from a little bit. He's a little bit faster. He's a little bit more lungier and divier and whatnot. He's got like a little bit more to him. And yeah, no, I think the fact that he's like a pack caller and actually has some coordination with his team is pretty neat. And having a bunch of Girros around can sometimes be kind of beneficial, because if you like knock a monster down, they'll start to gang the fuck up on other monsters and they'll get paralysis off for you, which is kind of neat. But yeah, no, I definitely like him a little bit more than some people, but this is a take that I definitely understand. Again, I agree. I think the armor's cool. I think the design is super cool. I think he's the best looking of the three big lizard bosses. Yeah, no, I like him. He's definitely kind of one of those monsters that I think is just kind of like one of those little guys I think is neat. I think if this was my list, with this one particularly, I think he'd be higher mid for myself.
Yeah, one of the biggest factors was like when I went to go grade him, did I have fun? And I get that he's weak and I was using high rank gear, but man, I was just like, this is so dumb. I was like, this is so dumb. He's fine. And I'll say it again. I think Murdoch said it best. Underutilized. I feel like they could have done a little more.
Yeah, I think that's also a kind of an issue that I think World has a little bit, especially in its earlier stages, is kind of like what I said with Jagras, is they definitely wanted to kind of ease people in a little bit. And I think a lot of the earlier level monsters, though they have some like cool ecology and some cool personality, I think there are some very underbaked movesets in early game World especially. And so yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, Laviente, I agree. Great animal, not a spectacular fight. That's a good way to put it. I like that.
All right. Kulu-Ya-Ku.
All right. I'm going to get my shit off. I don't know why you jabronis like this guy so much. He's so dumb. That Final Fantasy quest, which I did not take into consideration when doing this, made me hate him more. The monster himself, stupid. It's a bird, and that's it, with a dinosaur tail. The fight, stupid. He does like 3 moves, and they're dumb. He runs backwards and he jumps at you. He pecks his face into the ground, and that's like it. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it nice and loud for the people in the back. Being a spaz is not a good enough defining trait to make you a cool monster. Being big stupid bird is not enough to like, get him up on the list. There are so many other things. There's someone else coming up who is a spaz, but he does like 10 other things to make it way cooler. Kula is just a spaz, and that's it. And there's nothing cool about it. And the best thing about him is his armor is all right. Like, that's it. But the fight sucks. He sucks. I hate that you guys like him. Because he's so stupid.
I'm seeing a couple of W takes, a couple of L takes. You got some people on your side.
Yeah. Thank you, Spark.
Spark agrees with you.
Yeah, like, he's just if he could do something, like, I'll say it when the monster gets up, who I mean by, like, spaz done right. It ain't him. I think he's so dumb. But is he garbage? No. He's not garbage, but he's going to go with Girros at low mid. He's just underutilized is a great word for him, and that's where he belongs. Not being used, ignored in the basement is where he belongs. He is just, oh God, he's not good. I don't like him, but he's not garbage. He's not the worst monster on Earth. There are definitely worse monsters. So low mid.
All right, I'm going to assume below Girros.
Yes. Columbus, you're damn right. Kulu could be worse, but not by much. You're damn right.
Yeah, no.
He's just not cool.
This is when I agree with you. And when I did my personal 5th gen tier list, I got a little bit of heat for this one. This is another one of my, I guess this is kind of like a lukewarm take. It's not quite a hot take, because a lot of people seem to not like him, but a good amount of people do. He, again, neat animal. Like this is like, he's a dinosaur. Like that's something that could have existed a couple of million years ago. And you know what? That's kind of neat. I don't like the fight. I don't like the fight. He's this hoppy around, narrow, skinny ass little hitbox, and then, you know, he grabs a rock, and then it's even more obnoxious. And he's got like a couple more things when he comes back in Rise, and he just gets like even like hoppier around more. Like I like him less in Rise because they gave him a couple more things.
Other people in chat said in Rise he got better.
I think he got worse. Yeah, I don't like fighting him.
Yeah, like the dur stupid chicken, big rock, tee like that's not a good trait. That's a good point, Stan. Even when he is like holding something that blocks, like I feel like when I hit him, it doesn't hit. Like I hate his hitboxes. I hate him. He's not interesting enough. There are some monsters where it's like, dude, stop moving. But like it's still cool.
Yeah.
He is not cool and he won't stop moving. And like just like Dodo Dinosaur, like I don't even think he's that cool of a animal. Girros is superior in every way animalistically, but like I hate this guy, dude. I hate him, but like not enough to like put him in Garbo because there's worse monsters.
Yeah, no.
Like this guy coming up.
All right, let's talk about the Greek special.
Oh yeah, Tzatziki.
Tzitzi-Ya-Ku.
Oh man, I mean the fight is trivial at best. Like the first time you fight him, it's if you fight something 10-15 times, like, and it gets kind of like easy and trivial, like okay, you don't even have to fight him once to have it be trivial. He has like 2 moves. The camera move is brain dead. He's a cool looking little dinosaur guy. Purple. I like purple. The move set is brain dead. Like, oh my God. Comatose level move set. It's terrible. It's, I would say, arguably one of the worst fights in the game. In my opinion. It's cool when like he waddles up in the middle of a fight when you're fighting Odogaron or like Lumu and he's like, hey, smile fellas, and then runs away. I think that's kind of fun, but like if you have to actually sit there and fight him, like he's the guy when I'm like, I don't know how to use this weapon, I want to test it out, I go to this guy. Because he can't fight back. He doesn't do anything. And that's flashbang and nothing else. That's exactly what he is, Grizzly. He's got nothing going for him. And not even to mention, I'm not even taking into consideration the master rank armor, but his armor sucks. The armor in high rank is fine, but holy crap, is that armor in master rank just deviously disgusting. And he's an okay like looking dinosaur, but like that's about it. And like I would argue the worst, like that's pretty cool. That's the high rank armor. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't take it into consideration, but the master rank armor is just downright gross. I've seen bigger movesets on small monsters. It's probably right because he does nothing. He does nothing. He does the one move where he runs back and then runs at you again and like jumps, and like that's it.
Yeah, and then he's got like a spin and a kick, I think.
And then the flashbang. If like the flashbang was like some wicked complicated move where you had to like dive and roll and move, you could literally not sheath your weapon and just walk out of the area. It takes forever to come out. So like he sucks. He sucks. If you took the best part of Kulu and Tzitzi together, you still wouldn't have a good monster. That's probably right, Murdoch. Yeah, he's just meh. He's by far, not even close, the worst Coral Highlands monster, and it's not debatable. Calling it a fight is just stupid because he doesn't fight. Yeah, so I'm going to put him in Garbo. He's even his like design is not enough to save him. Yeah, he's a raptor with like big ears, I guess, membranes. Sure. There's no fight. There's no nothing. You get a better fight kicking friggin' crabs in the dirt. Like, he sucks. I don't like him at all. Like, as like a fight. The monster itself is fine, but the fight is so bad that I think it drags him out of low mid to Garbo because the fight is just so stupid.
I'm pretty much, this is another one, pretty much right on page with you. I think his design is actually pretty decent, like big purple dinosaur, like the way like the face shape is, it's like actually like kind of cool looking. I wish he had the big frill out for the whole fight. I get that he uses like a defense thing and like pops it out whenever he wants to, but like he looks so much cooler like in this picture with like the frill out than he does when it's just like the two little strands of things coming out of his head. And yeah, no, past the point where like you fight him for like the story, there's no reason to engage with him, and he really just kind of exists to be an environmental hazard where he'll show up and he'll like, usually to your benefit, like he's better at flashbanging the monsters than he is at flashbanging you, and then he just off and runs away.
Well, someone just said it. Murdoch is like on. We should just let him join, honestly, because the worst part is that when he stuns you, he doesn't do anything. That's so true. If he, you know how like Rathalos or Joe can like knock you down and then you're stuck there, and then you have like a cutscene animation where you get like tossed around. If you got stunned and you were stuck there and he like jumped on you and like punished you and like was like stepping all over you and clawing you, like, all right, there we go. But like like Murdoch said, he flashes you and doesn't move. He's so bad. He's so bad. And it's not even like there's some monsters, especially in Iceborne, that I didn't love the fight, but I'm like, dude, that armor is so cool. Like that sword is so cool. Like I wouldn't even fight this guy for his armor or his weapons. Like nothing about this guy is cool.
I think his design bumps him up a little bit. Like I remember when I ranked him, he was a little bit higher, but it was almost exclusively because I like how he looks. And that's really kind of it. So I think that takes us to the end of our lowest level difficulty monsters with Dodogama.
I'm sorry. He's an S tier monster to watch chunk around and be fat and roll. I like that when he goes to sleep, he sleeps underground. He eats rocks. Holy shit, does his fight suck. Holy shit, is he a waste of space. He spits flaming rocks at you, and I like when he charges at you like a train, but like, what else does he do? He kind of blows. Not even to mention that his armor doesn't vibe with what I think he looks like. If you showed somebody who doesn't know anything about Monster Hunter, they would think that that's like bug armor. It doesn't look like I don't think it looks like him. Unless the entire aesthetic is being based off like his chin, that doesn't look like Dodogama armor. That looks like bug armor. That looks like beetle armor. Like, I don't think that looks like Dodogama at all. Like I said, unless you're thinking exclusively his chin. But like, I do still respect that he's chunky and fun and like a goober who eats rocks. Slightly more so than Kulu. Being a spaz is really not a defining trait. Neither is being a fat, chunky goober. It is more so, but I just really don't like that fight's bad. That fight is bad. It's not fun. He spits at you. I almost said he ran. Oh God! I almost said he runs a train on you.
It'd be more memorable.
It would. Yeah. He runs at you, and he does like the thing where you're to his side and he rolls. Yep. Like he's a light work fight. And again, I understand that his role is not to be some powerhouse. And like some people are gonna say, like, well, that's not his job. Like his job, in the friggin' toughest area of high rank, where there's Joes and Bazelgeuses and like other monsters, his job isn't to be like super crazy scary. I love all the cute little like fan art and like stickers of him being fat, and he's fun to watch like waddle around, and I love when he goes underground, but like it's being a goofy goober is not enough to save a ass fight. And armor, I think that armor's terrible. Go to the tier list. He is still the boy, but he ain't higher than mid. He's fun to watch get chewed up by Joe. That is true. Mm-hmm. I would put him personally one ahead of Jagras. That's really where I see him. He's not a fun fight. I feel bad fighting him because you guys make me feel bad. And so like, even if I did want his armor, like I don't want to fight him. When you do fight him, it's not fun. Like he's another one. I fought him once when we fought him. I fought him once by myself and I accidentally killed him. And then I fought him when I did this. And like that was it. Like I never ever think like I'm gonna go hunt Dodogama for the fun of the fight, baby. Like, yeah, no. I don't know. I don't like him as a fight. He's an amazing monster. But I just don't think him being a chunky, goofy goober is enough to like make him a cool, actual mechanical monster at all. I even got Moy to switch their opinion. Moy said common Austin L in the beginning and then said actual W Take. I don't even care if they're talking about me. They're talking about me.
You're getting a lot more, a lot less blowback than, because this is...
I thought I was going to get trashed. I'm just saying what nobody wants to say, right? Come on.
So Austin and I were talking about this probably like a month ago, maybe half a month ago, and he said, dude, I have a take in here. It's gonna get the channel burned down. We're gonna get burned at the stake. I'm like, which one is it? And he goes, Dodogama. I'm like, oh yeah, that might get people mad at us.
End of the channel. Wrap it up.
Yeah,
no, I'm glad that most of you agree because it's just it's tough. It's a shame because like knee jerk, awesome. You're more people. You think Snappy? You think people are more mad about Kula? That's sad.
Yeah, no.
I got a lot of people coming around. This is good. Okay, I was scared. I do think my top monster is really gonna surprise people. We're not there yet, but
yeah, Dodo's a dude. I'm happy he exists, and I like to see him do more. But I kind of echo that a lot. It's like Dodo. I have never ever gone out of my way to fight. Like, oh man, Dodogama's on the map, and I'm doing an expedition. Yeah, dog, like, no, that's where I'm going. Like, no, never. I never thought that. I like that he exists. I like looking at him. I think he's cool. I think he's funny. I like seeing him waddle around. He's another monster where I think he can be kind of useful, where if I'm fighting like Azure Rathalos or Uragaan, and then there's Dodogama out in the background, like 100 feet away, just ripping off lava pot shots at the monster I'm fighting. Yeah, that's fun. I think I like the armor in isolation. I totally get it. It's like they modeled the entire set off of his chin and then painted it like even a different blue than he is. So I do like it in isolation though. I do think it looks cool in the master rank even more so. But yeah, no, it's not like super duper close to him. But yeah, no, this is another thing I kind of agree with. Dodo's a cool fucking dude. I'd love to see Dodo back. Couple new moves. I'm glad he exists. Like, he's to the benefit of Monster Hunter. Do I love him for the fight? Not particularly.
No. It's stupid. Like, yeah, I feel medium, mid might be even too high. But that's where he's going to go.
Yeah. Not like right around average? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're good. All right. So next up we got, we're going to bust out of like the bottom monsters that kind of like set up like the lowest levels of each zone. We're going to get into some of like the lower mid-level monsters. So we're going to start with Pukei-Pukei.
This was my first surprise of the whole thing because like I said, I kind of did them in like locale order.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how much I really actually enjoyed the fight.
Oh, I'm kind of happy to hear that.
I kind of panned this guy just for being a weird looking guy.
Yeah.
But the fight is fun. It's not crazy, but it's fun. And I like him a lot. His armor is actually kind of clean. Pull it up real quick.
Yeah, it's not bad armor.
I like the roguish, stealthy kind of look to this. It's cool.
Yeah, like
do I think it fits the monster? No. But like I think it's cool. It's just cool though. It's not like whoa. It's not like there's some armor coming up that like blows my pants off. Like so good. But the monster is like high mid. The fight is kind of high mid, and the armor's kind of low mid. Like he's cool. I like him. He was fun. I was expecting to just like drag this guy and be like, yeah, why am I even fighting him? I know I don't like him. And then I fought him, and I was like, oh, he ain't half bad. A half interesting move set. Like I like poison is kind of cool. I like how he runs away to eat. Is he like the greatest ancient forest and wild spire monster? But he's cool. I think he's probably the most fun, wacky fight that we've had so far. Go back to my old list, because I bet I had this dude in Garbo. Or damn close.
Did, I believe. Yeah. He's bottom. He's bottom of the barrel at the moment.
He's cooler than that. That's for sure. Wow, there's some wild things. There is some wild here now that I'm looking at it.
It's going to be fun to compare and contrast when we're done.
I like this guy. I think he's cool. He's goofy, but he's not like Kulu goofy. Like, he's reasonably, rationally fun goofy. Kulu is... I'm not going to start on Kulu again, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I kind of like him. High mid is nothing crazy. I don't want you guys to think like I friggin', butter myself up for friggin' Pukei. He's high mid is just like slightly above good.
Yeah, it's like
a hair above okay.
It's like a 6, yeah.
Yeah, like, I think Dodogama... Now, see, I need to, like, preface some of these things. Dodogama is a cooler monster. Jagras is a cooler monster. Pukei is a cool enough monster with a better fight and better armor. Like, visually looking armor. Another thing I should probably preface, I am an aesthetics fella. I did not look at any of the skills. I didn't do anything like that. I'm talking visually, looking at the armor.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Out of all these fights, he's the most fun fight on the board. If you tell me I'm wrong, you're wrong. You're just blatantly wrong. Pukei is just better than the five other monsters we have in play. He's just better, and I'll stand by that.
I like this dude.
Yeah, people are saying in the chat like Jyuratodus, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, we know what Austin thinks about Jyuratodus.
That's an open secret. Yeah.
Yeah, that's spoiler alert.
Yeah. Pukei's a good one. I think he's pretty cool. For like an early Monster Hunter has a tradition of having like your early game bird wyverns to be introduction. And I think he's like one of the better ones. Like he's cool. I like that he's like a low treetops kind of bird. He's kind of like usually like stalks around in the ground. This is something that won't apply to you, Austin. For myself, personally, being more experienced, Pukei fits almost the exact same niche as another older, more classic bird wyvern by the name of Gypsaros, and most of the people in the channel know who that is.
That's what people were saying in the chat. I didn't know what that meant.
So he is a bird wyvern with poison, with the ability to stun, because he's got like a flash crest like Tzitzi has, and he has an extendable tail of his own, and he's kind of like, there's something about him where he's just like cobbled together in such a way where I don't think he's particularly fun. But you have Pukei, who is this goofy bird wyvern. He has an extendable tail because he can like inflate it and like shoot it around with the poison and whatnot. He's got the poison. He can like eat these scatter nuts off the ground and add like a stun effect to his poison spit. So he does like almost all of the same things, but for some reason, like, it's much more cohesive. It's on a much cooler looking animal. The fight's just like a little bit more better put together. So he took over like a whole niche from another monster that I really didn't like and pulled it off significantly well. I think the greens and like the cyans and everything.
Yeah,
it's like
cool
a pretty
color
good
scheme.
color palette. Yeah, no, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a cool, like, low mid-level guy.
He's fun, and I would say that in the grand overall spectrum of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, is he that amazing? No. But tell me he's not cooler than the 5 dudes up there.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm telling you, you can't. You can be wrong, which is fine. I'm sure you guys think I'm wrong, but I just think I think he's fine. I like him a lot. But, he'll fall pretty quick. Like, once we get deeper in the list, he's, high mid ain't going to seem that high.
Yeah. Let's move on to Barroth.
The only thing I like about Barroth is the meme that he's like a sub-in bone boy that helps us out. I don't, this is another one. I don't get the appeal. I don't understand why people think he's so cool. He doesn't do anything at all. He's the monster itself. Pull up a picture of him.
Sure.
He's fine. Big, bony, chunky dinosaur. Like, cool. Like, that's fine. That's about it. I wanted him to do more. Like, he charges, he bashes his face into the ground, and that's it. And sometimes, once every 45 times you whack him in the tail, he might swing his tail. He's a boring kind of fight, but I do giggle every time he chews like a train. But he doesn't chew like a train every time. He chews like a train once every, 7 charges. He gets saved by his armor. For show. His armor is cool. I don't know why his armor looks like wood, but his armor is cool. I'm not a fan of chunky armor. The mud gimmick does not help this man. Yeah, usually I wouldn't like big chunky armor, but something about the one on the left is pretty cool. His master rank armor is crazy good. I love his master rank armor. I know that it's not wood, but his armor looks like wood. I just don't think he's fine. He's cool, but like, why do you guys love him so much? Like, I just don't understand like why, like what the appeal is. Like, he's fine. He's not bad, but he's okay. Is he the worst Wildspire monster? Not even close. Okay, no, he's second to last, but it's just because last is so far down. But like, yeah, he's all right. Like, he's fine. He's nothing crazy. He's not that cool. The armor is kind of cool. I don't care that he's a classic. Guess who's only been playing Monster Hunter for like 30 seconds? Me. Yeah. So like, yeah, good for you guys for loving this guy because he's been around. Maybe I'll feel the same in 20 years. Yeah, like, he's okay. He's fine. Put him in mid where he belongs.
Okay, like medium mid?
Yeah, medium mid, below Dodogama. Honestly, below Jagras too.
Okay.
He never does anything that makes you go like, wow, like I need to sit up in my chair. Like, wow, I need to really lock in. Like, he doesn't do anything meaningful. And I wish he was cooler because you guys like him so much, especially Nate. And like, yeah, like, he's okay. Yeah, he does some cute things. Someone just mentioned, like, he shakes off the mud. Sure. But yeah, he's just fine. He's okay. And he's where he belongs is valid. And I bet he wasn't much higher when I ranked him the last time.
He's higher than when you ranked him the first time. That's for damn sure.
Oh, he's higher. What did I put him in last time?
You put him
Garbage?
in Garbo.
Okay, he's a little cooler than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Jyuratodus ain't going nowhere. Yeah, if he does the choo-choo more spark, I'd like him more, but he don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a fine he's an okay animal, I guess. But yeah, I feel justified.
For me, there definitely is a lot of kind of like nostalgia factor and like classicness to him. And again, like, this won't convince you because this doesn't apply to you. But so he is the first introduced monster of like the brute wyvern skeleton, so like the T-Rex dinosaur, which was new for Monster Hunter. The mud also used to be more interesting. They changed it around in World to kind of, I guess, be like a little less cartoony, but there used to be a debuff where if he shook off his mud and it like stuck to you, you'd be encased in like a ball of mud and have to walk around like unable to like move your arms and stuff, which is kind of fun. In mud, like, I get what they were going for. Like, it's a mud trap. It like slows you down, you get stuck in it, but it's not as funny as it used to be. Very, very straightforward combat design. Again, he's the first monster of that particular frame, so his moveset is pretty simple. It's really just like tail attack, mud shake, like hip check, and his head rush, which is like very simple. He's got like 5 or 6 attacks. The coolest thing about him, again, this is not something that you're necessarily looking for, but something I really like about Barroth is kind of like the impact that he had on desert maps, and I think it's why he has stuck around a lot, is in a lot of like the classic games, the desert maps were typically some of like the weaker maps out there because they were very big and they were very flat. You know, like, they're desert, so you'll have like a couple like little valley areas, little cave areas, but they were mostly about like big, wide open, flat areas that weren't super cool to traverse. So then Monster Hunter Tri comes around and they bring in Barroth, who's this creature covered in mud and whatnot, and they're like, all right, so like, how does something like this like survive in a place like this? It's like, oh, like, he covers himself in mud. So they added like these watery mud holes into the desert map that comes in Tri. So then, as you know, Barroth sticks around, and as the desert maps progress, you get deserts with like more oases and that's probably not a word. More oases and more bodies of water and like a little bit more. So and you have like the Wildspire Waste, which has, you know, like the running river from that one area that goes like, it feeds into the forest in one area, and then it goes to like the marshy area with all the flowers and whatnot. And that's kind of like this cascading Barroth effect, where him coming in and needing this watery environment to live in and to thrive in, like, retroactively came in and made the desert maps particularly interesting.
Someone just did, yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so I think, like, he added a lot to Monster Hunter. Again, that doesn't apply to you, but I think that is definitely why a lot of people really like him, is he definitely, like, he does mean a lot to the history of the series.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people are are putting him where he is.
Yeah.
Spark said, if they made a version of Barroth that had a soft head with a slightly different ecology, maybe has a horn he breathes through or something, like, I would like him more. I agree. If he, like, used the horns on his head, like, you know, like, he chews like a train,
Like
and it
fought
comes
with
out
sound
like...
and shit? That'd be kind of sick. That'd be kind of
like,
sick.
or, like, you know, if he, like, tilted his head at you and, like, out, like, you know... Because he's rolling around in the mud. He's bashing his head in the mud. If, like, his horns on his head got clogged with mud and he, like, tilted his head and, like, shotgunned mud out of his head at you, like, that'd be cool. Like, if he could chew loud enough that, like, you kind of got stunned and you needed earplugs and, like, that was, like, his roar, like, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything.
Sure.
I wish he was cool.
The moveset is definitely simple. I will agree with you on that.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, he's fine. He's perfect. And again, mid is not bad. Mid is okay. So I feel, yeah, I feel where he is good. And someone else said, I think it was Tig Can said, we need justice for Tony. It's coming, baby. It's coming. I love Tony. The walk, the noises he makes, the roar, the little, like, chittering he makes. This is who I was talking about. We're talking about Kulu. I think he's not a spaz, but he's fast, and it's like a spaz done right. Like, he won't stop moving, but it's because he's like a friggin' wild dog. Like, he's a flying squirrel. Like, I think that is cool. Like, that's fun. I like when you can see him jumping on the trees, and he starts, like, sparking up, and, like, he jumps off like a flying squirrel and spreads, like, his membrane wings and, like, flies at you. And he has a good roar. The fight is fun. It's like the first, I would say, in the ancient forest, out of, like, the 5 or 6 low rank monsters that pop up, he's the okay, I'm not gonna say that, but he's one of the, like, initially cool, like, creative fights. Because, like, if you fight in the ancient forest, you fight Jagras, boring fight. If you fight Kulu, don't even get me started. We'll get to the other guy who I really like in the ancient forest in a second, and I think Tony is an S tier monster with a high fight, but holy
I know where
that's
this is
the
going.
most heinous, disgusting, garbage, just despicably gross armor. Is that not the worst? That's the coolest you could come up with for that? Oh my god. What in good God's name is that? What is this? The Lizard Revolutionary War? Get that off my... That is just the most heinous. Arguably, and I don't know how this is, there's worse, and I know who it is, and we'll get there. Arguably the worst armor in the game. Arguably, it's not the worst armor in the game, but it is arguably the worst armor in the game. That armor is ugly, it's stupid, and I'm not gonna say, I don't give a shit about the skills, all right? It is so bad. So bad. And it's like, that's the coolest you could do for the tough friggin', the way he's, like, his back, like he moves like he's hunting at all times. He's slithering, he's sliding, the noises are so cool. He looks so dignified when he walks. I wish he used more lightning. I do wish he used more lightning. I do like when he lifts his tail and he, like, sparks. Oh, when he sparks, oh my god. That's the best you could do with that armor. Pull up the Master Rank armor. I want to see it. I don't think I've actually ever looked at it. I'm not going to it's not going to change my opinion.
It's not going to help.
Some of the weapons are... That's it?
Yep.
Okay, that is better, but it ain't by much. I'm glad people are saying someone finally said it. Yeah, that is just the, like, holy crap. You're telling me you make... you were like 80% there. You made a cool fight. You made a fun fight. I struggled with him. He was probably my first low-rank solo. I don't want to say wall because he wasn't that hard. And I don't want to act like I'm some, like, professional Monster Hunter player who's like, I never struggle. But, like, he was tough. I like how fast especially me when I was using hammer because I didn't really know how to do it. But the spark up is so good. The flying squirrel move is so cool. And then you get to, again, I did not take this into consideration. You get to, like, the snakier one in Master Rank, and he's even cooler. That armor does not look like it belongs to him. Like, that is terrible.
Especially this one.
That is terrible. And everything else about him is so cool. So, like, I'm not going to lie. He would have been S, but that armor is so bad. So bad. So he's gonna drop into high because because everything else I think is cool. The fight is high. He's S. But the armor is just so bad. And then he's another one. A lot of his weapons, I didn't really put this against him, but a lot of his weapons are just like the copy of other weapons from other the bits on sticks. I hate that so much.
It's the worst part of the world, honestly.
Yeah, that armor is so terrible. Yeah, if there was some snow lizard, I'd be like, okay, that armor fits. When we get to how do you make cooler armor? You know what? I'll wait till we get there to say who, but there are some monsters that have way cooler armor that don't really fit the monster 100%, but they look cool. And it's you couldn't have done that with Tobi. It's such a shame because I like him so much. He's one of the lower rank monsters out of the people on the board right now that I want to go fight Tobi just for the fun of fighting Tobi. I don't, but the armor is just despicably bad. I still put him in high snappy because he should be S. But he's not. I would even, you know what? Let me take a look. Who's coming up? Let me just make sure I'm in the right area here. You know what? This is not like chess. We're gonna be, because this is official.
Sure.
I'm gonna slide him down medium high.
Medium high.
Because I feel like he's an S monster with high fight, and I feel like the armor is so garbo that it should probably bring him down more than one level. Yeah, I want the armor to be so cool because he's so cool, and I have a lot of other monsters coming up that I feel the same way. But yeah. That one is holy crap. What are we doing? Oh, see, and I say this a lot about big stuff like this. Mm-hmm. One dude didn't make that armor. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
A room full of people said, oh, yeah. That's it.
Signed off on it.
Signed off. Here we go, baby. That's when I think of electric lizard flying squirrel snake, I think of bundling up and going to fight in the friggin' trenches of friggin' New England in when the Revolutionary War. What? That armor's terrible.
Mm-hmm. I'll knock that off. The armor sucks. It's bad. It's really bad. I've never wanted to wear it, and I felt maybe not viscerally at the same level of you, but you are a little bit more emotive than I am. But I saw that armor for the first time. I'm like, wow, that's disappointing. But yeah, no, dude, as a dude, talk about a sick early game monster. You said everything already. The jumping around on trees and the springboarding off of them, and using the flying squirrel gliders, and the static electricity that he runs up his body to supercharge himself. Then he gets all poofy, and the mixture of squirrels and lizards and snakes and and the red eyes, the blue coloration's really cool, and he's slinking around up in the treetops and he's so cool. And I think he really starts to kind of get the ball rolling for what world can do with its animals. He's right dead in the middle of the treetops, and he's using the environment for traversal and whatnot. He is so cool. But I don't want to make anything that he has. I like fighting him. Unlike a lot of these other guys, I will fight him for the sake of battle. The fight is that good.
Look up the gun lance. A lot of people are asking for the gun lance.
Sure.
I'm just curious to see what it looks like. It's Moy said that not every, I don't know if this is referring to what I've been saying. Moy said not every armor is going to be Power Ranger. That doesn't, the armor's bad. It's just bad. It doesn't matter what you compare it to. It's just bad.
Yeah. No,
that's sick.
Yeah.
That looks like him.
Yeah.
I like that some of them, and it'll come up in the very next monster. You know what? Let's just move on. Let's just move on to the next monster so I can make the point.
Sure.
It's very relevant. Jyuratodus is terrible. Just undeniably terrible. No matter how you look at him, he's terrible. He brings punching bags fight back. He doesn't fight back at all. He stands up, he spits at you, he goes under and jumps up with the most predictable attack. Woo! That's literally it. He's terrible. But holy God, is that armor sick. And it's what does that armor have to do with Jyuratodus? That armor looks nothing like Jyuratodus. But Fish Paladin, that armor is gas. Fish Paladin is so tough. What does that have to do with Jyuratodus? I don't know. Why couldn't they do that for Tony? Why couldn't they just make Snake Knight? They made Fish Knight for a significantly worse monster. I'm not even like Mudfish is just terrible.
Good point from Tin Can. The armor is awesome. The skills are walk fast in water.
Oh, see, that was my big complaint, because I wanted to make it, because, like, Jyuratodus is another one. We deco grinded Jyuratodus, like, 15 fights in, like, 4 days. And so, like, I had Jyuratodus parts out the ass. So I was like, you know, oh, yeah. You know, like, I'll make Jyuratodus armor. And then it's like, muck resistance, water movement. And I'm like, wow, that's terrible. Power Ranger Gladiator, yeah. That's, like, that armor is so cool. And this monster has better armor than some Elder Dragons. That's despicable.
He's not wrong.
And like, the monster's just, I don't even think I wrote anything good about him. I think I literally, my notes on him were literally just like, he's bad, like, get over it. Yeah, big chunky mega catfish. Like, you know what else I hate? I hate that he has legs. Bothers the hell out of me that he's not just a fish. Why does he stand up? Oh God, put those chunky baby legs away. It's just terrible. I mean, if you went base game, didn't level anything up, and just took starter sword 1 in chainmail and went to go fight him, you'd probably kick his ass first try. I mean, I don't even care. Like, I'm not taking into consideration, like, oh yeah, like, he's really the only muddy kind of fish. Like, he's really one of the only fishes, minus the other Jyuratodus 2.0 coming up. Like, I don't care about stuff like that. He's terrible. Like, he's just blatantly terrible. There's not a good thing I can say about him fight-wise. I don't even think he's that cool looking of a monster. I don't even think he, like, validates himself in terms of just, like, looks or, like, what he does. He's fine. But his armor, Fish Paladin, man, tough as hell. That's not enough to save him from Garbo. He's terrible. He's just blatantly terrible. I don't like that he walks. He's okay. He's not the worst monster on this list.
All right.
Oh, come on. Slide him back. I meant, like, in terms of the whole list.
Okay. Okay. I see. I see. I see who's going below him.
Yeah, none of his moves are interesting. I will say, I do like when I didn't take this into consideration because I said I wouldn't. I do like when he, like, fights Barroth and he, like, slithers in circles around him like a snake and then kind of, like, somehow body slams him. But, like, that's it. That's it. Like, the him spitting mud that makes you slip is just on the friggin' fecal matter cake. I mean, it's terrible. There's nothing good about him. His swords, he's another one. There's a million different swords, great swords and long swords that look just like his. There's nothing good I can say about this guy minus the armor. The armor's gas, straight gas, but it's not enough to pull him out of garbage land, I'll tell you that. I bet I put him pretty low last time too.
I think he's right where you left him last time.
Let's get an update here. Where did I put Barroth down there? Yeah, Jyuratodus down there, yeah.
Yeah, Toby in medium high.
Okay, Toby's on the money. Toby's where I put him last time.
Yeah.
I know these things.
Yeah. Jagras is 1 tier higher than he was. Kulu's 1 tier higher. You have Tzitzi up in high mid instead of Garbo.
Because I called him Randall. It's only because I called him Randall.
Yes, it is because you called him Randall. You had Girros up in high. I bottom of it, but you had him up here.
Because he looks cool.
He does look cool, yeah.
So knee-jerk, he looks cool. Now, here's a good point about Jyuratodus's turf war. Beatodus does the same thing. Mm-hmm. And Jyuratodus does the same thing. But Jyuratodus does it for, did I call it Jyuratodus? Yeah. What's the, not Beatodus. Yeah, Beatodus and what's the other fire lava one? Lavasioth, sorry. But Jyuratodus does it first, and somehow it's not his, like, move. I feel like he can't even claim the coolest thing about him. I feel like it looks cooler for everybody else. Yeah, he's terrible. Like, terrible. But damn it, do they put out some good investigations for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't say I feel that much different. He is the most aggressively boring fight in the game. More so than Jagras, more so than Kulu, more so than Tzitzi-Ya. He is the most boring fight in the game. The only thing I like about him is, like, I like the marshy swamp areas in the Wildspire Waste, and that's where he is. That's the coolest part about him. Like, the design, it's very much a fish. It's supposed to be like an ancient kind of like coelacanth type of fish. Like, that's kind of neat. That's something. The mud armor is something. Barroth did it first. The turf war is cool. But yeah, no, in world, it is oppressively boring how easy that fight is. And he can get like KO'd if he's hit in the head with a tennis ball. Like, it's that easy to stun him. I would say, like, the most interesting thing about him, going off of, like the merits of, like, Barroth and like that, is, like, what he kind of brings to the table. And that's, like, I think it is kind of cool that they added these, like, shallow water fights in World, where you have, like, a pond of water that's, like, waist deep on you, but they have an animal that can actually, like, swim around in it, so you can still have, like, an aquatic fight without having underwater. That's kind of cool. It lets him, like, actually kind of, like, move around and swim around. The fight is, like, nothing. I would have a tougher time if I went to Market Basket and picked a fight with the dead fish wrapped up in plastic in the food aisle. That would be a more difficult fight.
Yeah, man, he's bad. He's bad. He's bad. Worst monster on the list, that's for sure.
So let's move it up to Anjanath then.
This was another surprise. Kind of what I said about some of the other monsters in the Ancient Forest. Like, they all kind of have the same OST.
Yep.
The OST, though, feels like Anjanath's.
Oh, it's totally his theme. Yeah.
He's got aura. Like, he feels like when he's running at you and he's running through walls and he walks up to you, like, you're like, woof, man, like this guy's got like a vibe to him. I will say what I say all the time because I know that somebody's going to say something. He is just a dinosaur. He is just a T-Rex. I will be fair. However, he's a cool dinosaur. Mm-hmm. I like kind of like the things that separate him from just being a T-Rex, because let's be fair, the T-Rex part of him is very limited moveset wise. He swings his tail, he kicks you. That's pretty much all he can do. When he starts spitting fire at you and he's like launching fucking giant fire bombs at you, it's cool. His moves aren't super complicated, but when you combine him with the music, it is a fun fight. It's not my favorite armor. It's fine. It kind of... Pull up the Anjanath armor.
Go for it.
It kind of reminds me of, like, mid-game Dark Souls armor. Like, it's fine. It's cool. Not my thing. But... I love this guy. The bones in the wings popping out kind of feel odd because, like, you can't really even see them when they're not out. Like, when they're not out, it's kind of odd that they just kind of, like, spawn there. Like, it's not like you could see the wings, like...
Yeah, they, like, disappear into his body.
Yeah,
I feel like they could do something...
When you look at him as, like, a dinosaur, like, where are his wings right now? Where do they go? Those are big wings. They're not, like, dragon wings or anything, but, like... Where do they go? You can't even... And then the nose bone especially. Where does that nose bone even come from?
Yeah.
I love him. Like, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a high monster. I think he's an S-tier fight, just combining everything, man. Like, he's a wall. He's the wall. Like, he's
That is
tough.
what he's designed to be, yes. If you're not making stuff...
And he fills that role so well. Mm-hmm. When I fought him early on in the tier list, like, ranking that I was doing, my report card.
Yep.
And he is... Like, I felt like there's a couple other monsters that I'll say the same thing about coming up. I felt like I was having a fight. Like, I felt like I was, like, sweating it out, and I kind of had to, like, lock in, and I wasn't really listening to the music because I was like, I gotta lock in. Mm-hmm. He's so fun. I love him. But I think there are cooler, better monsters coming up.
There are.
But this guy's high, man. I love him. Like, he's definitely the coolest monster on the board, and just from what I know about, like, older Anjanath, I'm sure that he only gets cooler. But I love this guy. Yeah, high, borderline S. S. Cool. I love him. And I know that in the other tier list, he was low.
Pretty low.
He's
definitely in the mids. Let's see if I can...
Yeah, he's... Mid. High is his place. I love that. Yeah, he's not S just because there are some monsters coming up that I just think, I don't want to say perfect, but there are just some monsters that don't have the lacking of cool. I don't love his armor. Mm-hmm. And I just think there's some monsters coming up that have a cool fight, a cool armor set, and they're cool monsters, like, that are better than, like, they kind of check off the boxes a little better. I love him. I was fighting him and I was like, holy like, he's a monster that I haven't fought him in a while. Like, let's go. Like, I'm jumping in, I'm hunting him. Yeah, like just him walking through the forest, crushing trees. He feels like a big, intimidating T-Rex. He has a great roar. And yeah, he's tough. He's tough as hell. I love him.
Anjanath he's almost kind of like the pseudo flagship monster of Worlds, because like Nergigante is like the big main antagonist of the story and everything, but Anjanath was the dude that they put like foremost in the marketing. Like the very first E3 revealed trailer, they put him out there and they showed him off like chasing you through the woods and like breathing fire and shit with the music blasting and everything. So sick. And they've bet on him as like a horse a couple of times. Like he gets a pretty nice pop and rise. He got like a big spot in a trailer for Monster Hunter Stories 2. Like they kind of like knew that they had something cool with Anjanath. He's not too crazy. He's not too wacky. Like he's a fire-breathing Tyrannosaurus Rex that's like basically if it minus like the robot part, he's basically Grimlock from Transformers. He's a T-Rex with a flamethrower. It's about as like awesome for a 9-year-old as you can get, and it works.
Moy called me a 9-year-old a few minutes ago.
I saw that message, yeah.
Go f*** yourself.
And I agree 100%. The fact that the nose bone and like the sail just like dematerialize into his body is really weird. Like, that's something about him, like, I've always thought is odd. They themselves, though, I do like. And, like, they have some cool, like, functions with his biology and stuff. And when he gets, like, super angry and everything flares up and he, like, gets, like, nice and big and, like, the fire starts, like, flickering out of his mouth. He looks so sick, dude.
Yeah, like especially the bone. Where does that go?
Yeah, no, it's just gone.
Like, how would you even make that slide back into his head?
I like what it does for him, but it does just evaporate into his nose. It's a little
I do
odd.
like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. He's awesome. He's so fun.
All right. Let's move on to Paolumu.
Lumu is fine. He's there. Mm-hmm. I like his angry face.
Yeah.
The fight is cool. Like he's different. He's got some creative moves. Nightshade is cooler in almost every facet. The armor is shaky at best. But he is a fun fight. He's a different fight. No other monster really has that kind of vibe that he has, like the balloon Dyson vacuum vibe. And yeah, he's cool. He's like a low-high look with like a mid-high fight with mid weapons and armor. Pull up the armor. I just want to take one more look.
Sure.
It makes sense. He's big and fuzzy. And it makes sense that he makes big and fuzzy armor. Do I like it? No. But it's fine. It vibes. It tracks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, I think he's a cool look with, like, a cool enough fight with whatever armor. I do think he's different enough to kind of separate him from, like, you know, the chunk at the bottom. But he's mid-high. He's high mid or low high. Mm-hmm. He's fine. I think he's cool. In the moment, low high kind of feels high. But when I was thinking about where he would go, low high was what I was thinking. So let's put him at the top of high mid.
Okay.
Above. Yeah, because he is kind of annoying in the air. Mm. I love when Odogaron comes and starts like chewing on him.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Is he the worst monster in the Coral Highlands? No. Is he the best monster in the Coral Highlands? No. But he's fine. I like him. I think high mid is perfect. Could he go low high? I could be convinced. But I think kind of what he is, kind of that mid monster in the coolest area. I think that's kind of like, I don't think they designed him thinking that this guy's going to run the Coral Highlands, you know. But yeah. So I think high mid is fine. I think he's a better fight than everyone below him. Is he a better monster necessarily? No, I don't think he is necessarily like an amazing visual monster, but I do like his angry little face. I honestly like him when he's not puffed up. I like because his face is just so big and like so disproportionate to the rest of his body. And so like, yeah, when he's like in your face and he's like angry all the time, like I think he's funny.
Yeah, I like him. I he feels a lot like Dodogama for me, but just maybe like a little bit more so. He's like cool animal, glad he exists, pretty cute design. Favorite fight? No.
Yeah, he's fine.
Terrible fight? No. But yeah, no. Cool personality, cool design. He's a giant floating cotton ball hanging around in the Coral Highlands. He's cool. He's in it. He is completely inoffensive. I like him. All right. Let's go for the redemption arc of the century. Radobaan.
Yeah. We need to play that like Frank Sinatra song. So what is a man? Just so we can really... Because I love Radobaan. Radobaan gets so much hate, and I don't get it. He needs to stop rolling. He rolls and then he rolls again. He's so cool. He's a Beyblade. It's awesome. Radobaan is awesome. I think he's so cool. I don't get why people don't like that he rolls.
You can knock him out of his rolls too with like the slinger pods.
He's a Beyblade, man, and it's tough. He looks visually cool, and I don't like spiky bony armor, and he looks visually cool. He's a way cooler rolling monster than the other guy coming up down the list. And don't even get me started on his armor. His armor is so cool. His armor is like Power Ranger villain. It is so tough. He is arguably one of my favorite monsters in the game. Top 5. Look at that. Tell me that dude is not a Power Ranger villain. That is so cool. His armor is cool. His hammers are cool. I think the spins are creative enough for me, at least, that I don't go, holy crap, stop spinning. Like, I'm not one of those guys. I think him spinning is really fun. It's really cool. I kind of like what he brings to the Vaal of like rolling around. How he's like rolling from area to area, and he's like loud, and he kind of comes flying in, and he like crashes in. I love the spin move where he goes on his side and he like spins around and he jumps. I like when he bangs his head into the floor. Like, I think he's way better than his cousin, I guess you want to call Uragaan.
Yep.
I think his weapons are cool. I like how he always surprises me when he puts me to sleep. I never see it coming because he does it so sparingly. At least I hate bulky armor, but I love his armor. He's just a significantly better Uragaan. And that's not saying much, I understand, but I think he's a high tier look with, I love his fight with S tier armor, and I just love him. He is my first S of the night. I love Radobaan so much. I find myself going to fight Radobaan more than any monster in the game. I would say he is so fun. I love him. I think he's amazing.
Radobaan is the most underrated original world monster. Like, just flat out. He's definitely like kind of forgotten in like an endgame space because he's pretty low level, and he's also up in like the top of the Rotten Vale, which a lot of like the big bad bosses of the Vale are lower level, so you don't get to see him all that much. But damn, dude, he is so sick. Like the fact that he's like covered in tar and like covers himself up in like dead monster bones for armor. You can hack away at all the bone armor, and then he can like reapply it on himself. He's got like a mouth guard from different fangs. He's got like Diablos' horns for shoulder guards. That's sick. If you start breaking the bones off of him, then it interrupts his rolls and it makes him worse at it, and you can knock him out of the rolls with the slinger pods. Like, the design is sick. Like, it's a very cool, just like monochrome color scheme, which is mostly just kind of like black and almost white with the bone. And then with his relationship with Uragaan. So Uragaan's a little bit older, from a couple of games back. I really like this thing that Monster does sometimes, where it's like, hey, we have a monster, we kind of want to like expand on it, but it's not enough of a different, it's too much of a difference that we want to make it like a subspecies or a variant or a rare species or any of that kind of stuff. Like, it's different enough that it's like a different animal, like but they're very, very similar, and that's like a thing that actually happens in like real nature. Like, that's a really cool thing that got brought over into Monster Hunter. So you have like Radobaan and Uragaan are extremely closely related. They're like lions and tigers. Super close, big cats, probably like very, very close evolution wise, but they're like genetically different animals, and that's these two. And I think that's so cool that they came in and they like created this relative for Uragaan who is far superior. And yeah, no, because of his placement and things, he gets a little bit overlooked. I think he is mad underrated. I think he's so cool.
I love him. He's awesome. Like I said, I find myself going to fight him more than almost anyone. He's the man. Is this pink and green?
Yeah. So we're gonna package up with the subspecies. So we're gonna go regular Rathian and then pink Rathian.
Okay. Rathian's fine. Like, I want more out of the Wraths. I really wish Rathian just did something more. I hate the poison. It's so annoying. This is, if you're gonna say it about someone, it's this guy, right? He's just a dragon. And that's really how I kind of look at him. Him and Rathalos are kind of the same. Visually like that. Like, they're just dragons. They're okay. But I don't like Rathian that much. Pull up his armor. Put that guy on the left on the cover of a Dark Souls game. It's exactly what it looks like. Like, it's fine. I don't like that pointy mask. I don't love him. I don't love him. I wish he did more. Boring hip checks, tail spins. I hate when he flies up and like spins and like whips his tail up. Oh God, it's like I just want him to do more. I wish he did more. It's like, and then like the one thing he does do, the poison, is like so annoying. And yeah, I just don't like him. I wish he did more. He should do more. I understand that, like, like, I don't know, having just a dragon is not cool enough. Like, there is some, there's something. Okay, Moy just said it, right? Moy just said he's just a dragon, so Anja is just a dinosaur. Yeah, but Anjanath spits out fire and like does things that regular dinosaurs don't do. What does Rathian do that regular dragons don't do? He's just a copy and paste dragon from fiction dragons. Yeah, boring. Like, I just want more. What I want, I'm not sure, but I just wish there was more. So like, he's mid. And then, I mean, there's not much more to say about Pink Rathian.
We'll move him when you want to. Pink
Rathian is, you could put Rathian above Dodo.
Okay.
Pink Rathian could go one spot behind.
Okay.
Yeah, do regular dragons have poison tails, Moy? The worst part about Rathian is not really something you should be defending. Pink Rathian's, like, almost worse. They spin more. And it's like, like, there's nothing, like, the next monster on the list is also kind of just a dragon, but it, like, has a theme. And, like, things happen. And, like, it has, like, there's, like, a theme behind it and an idea. But, like, Rathian is literally just there to be like, I want to test this weapon, but I also want there to be a fight, like, better than Tzitzi. So, yeah, like, he's boring. Like, I really wish there was more. And I don't like either of them. I really think they're both very boring.
Yeah. All right. Definitely don't blame you. I definitely understand where you're coming from. I think that is a perfectly understandable position. For myself, I agree with the statement that I think Rathian is due for more. She has been static in terms of her moveset for a very long time. The one thing I will disagree with is I really like the backflipping. I think it's iconic. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a fun move to deal with. It's a fun move to, like, counterattack, and I like the backflips a lot. Yeah, so for a little bit of context on top of that, you are 100% correct in that she is very much like quintessential wyvern. And that is super on purpose, because she is the original monster. So they decided they wanted to go with wyverns for the base template as opposed to like traditional dragons. Dragons become a little bit more special. So they take wyverns from, I think they're out of like mythologies in Africa. So they take the fire breathing aspect from dragons. They take the poison, which wyverns were known for. And they make a monster hunter monster out of her. And yeah, no, she is very middle of the road, very rudimentary, very simple. She is basically the template for wyvern monsters. So like the powerful hind limbs, 2 wings, the big tail, typically a breath weapon, and a lot of monsters come out of her general design. And I think she is definitely due to get a little bit more that is unique and special to her. There's a couple of variations of her in some other games that get some cool, unique. I think she is, again, what you said, and I actually marked this as a bit of a positive for her, is she is like my #1 weapon test monster. If I have a set I want to run, if I have a weapon I want to learn, she is a fight that like fights back. But I know her moves very well. They're very, like, quintessential wyvern, so it's a very nice comfort zone monster to go practice with. For that reason, I have a good amount of respect for her. The fact that she and Rathalos are typically the same creature, but the species is dimorphic is pretty cool. I think that's a neat little detail to slap on your front-running monsters. The green isn't the best. I think I like the more vibrant Rathian. And then for pink specifically, I'll grab her. You are unfortunately coming in on the games with the colors being a little bit washed out. And we'll talk about this, especially with the Azure version of Rathalos. But pink should look way better than she does in Worlds. So, like, unfortunately, World is not a terribly vibrant game, so Pink looks a lot better in some of her earlier incarnations. So that definitely kind of scuffs with Pink, and she also has the diagonal backflip, which is a cool little take on that. So yeah, no, I totally, the perspective is very understandable, because again, you don't have a lot of that, like, old veteran kind of, like, circumstances. I have a lot of respect for what she is, like, fundamentally, where she exists on the food chain, a lot of, like, what is built around her. But yeah, no, she needs more. She definitely, I think she is due to have a nice, like, healthy upgrade in the move pool and whatnot.
Yeah, I just wish there was something, you know, like, I definitely think, like, some other monsters that fly around have, like, themes and, like, they have, like, an idea behind them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love them. They're okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move into Legiana.
I love Legiana so much. Ice Plate can be ignored because Legiana visually is one of the coolest looking monsters. Look at those wings. That is so cool. Look at the freaking membrane horns. That is so cool. And especially when the, like, membranes aren't out and it's just the horns, even cooler. The fight is visually very cool when she's spinning around and, like, kind of dives at you and, like, flies towards you. The sparkling ice trail behind her is, like, wicked cool. And, like, you know, when she does do, like, the big ice blade attack, when she kind of, like, wraps up and then kind of, like, explodes outwards and does, like, a big, like, ice cone, it looks so cool. Like, visually, the ice effect of, like, the sparkling ice around it, and then, like, when she kind of, like, has ice build up on, like, her chest and, like, you know, her wings and stuff, like you know, like icicles hanging off and stuff. It's so cool. The armor is one of the coolest armor sets around. What the hell is that? That is so tough. Look at the, oh my god, it's friggin' Dragon Ninja Gaiden. That is so tough. That's a good point, Spark. I like how she doesn't just kind of fly around like the other dragons. She glides and she floats and she's low enough for you to hit, unless you're in certain areas of the Coral Islands. Some of the areas are kind of questionable, but that's not her fault. But, like, the friggin' Horned Ninja Knight, that is so tough. S monster, and then don't even get me started on the arguably the best roar in the game. Yes, we're on it. But one of the best roars in the game. I don't care how many times she does it. It's so cool. The Coral Highlands is her spot. It's 110% her spot. Obviously, they designed it that way. S. Higher. S.
Higher than Radobaan.
Number one on the list right now. For sure. So cool. It's like a tough enough fight when you first do it. Ice Blight is easily ignored. It's not something that, like, I don't know. There's worse blights, I feel like there's worse blights. Ice Blight is terrible, don't get me wrong, but, like, it's not the worst thing on the planet. I think she's one of the coolest monsters in the game. And the weapons, the ice hammer is sick. Her sword is sick. Why its sharpness sucks so bad, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I would have made it if it didn't suck so bad, the longsword, because it is so cool. Everything about her is just amazing. I love the music, the roar, everything just blends so well. The ice sparkling around, it's so cool. And double S, I love her.
Yeah, no, she's good. Not my favorite fight. I think the fight is probably the only thing that really kind of, like, holds it back, like, just a little bit for me. And I'm not even saying, like, the fight's bad. I just think it's not my favorite. And then, like, being I'm gonna
go grab a water. Keep talking.
Sure. and then being the only fight or the only ice battle in base game world, and it's not like the nuttiest ice fight. She's not particularly reliant on her ice, and that's like there's a little bit of pro and con to that. Like it means that she's not like super elemental spammy, which is fine, but at the same time her ice attacks are mostly just like little like particle effect icy gusts, and that was like a tad whelming for me. So like the fight's good. I wouldn't put it past like good for me personally. But I do enjoy fighting it. I don't like dread fighting Legiana or anything. And then it's got a really cool spot as like the apex of the Coral Highlands. I think there's some cool introduction to her with, the fact that she's like stuck in the airship that you're in. It like keeps attacking at you and keeps attacking at you. It's this really vicious like territorial animal, which is pretty sick. And then the very specific ecological development with the glider and the panels under her wings and in between her horns and on her tail, which are all basically these different rudders that she can control, because the Coral Highlands has these very powerful drafts and whatnot. And she has a couple of animations where she flies typically, but for the most part, she's really just like snagging onto wind gusts and then using all of those different flaps on her to guide herself around with these little minutia movements. And I think if they even like moved into that all the more with their animations and really wanted to like super play into those, I think it should be even more cool conceptually. Design's really good with like really cool colors. It is, one of the best roars in the base game of Rise. One of the best roars in Monster Hunter. It's a very beautiful sound effect. And as someone pointed out, yes, it was in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which really took me by surprise. At least like some version of it. But it's in there. If you're it's in I think if you watch the fight with like Megatron and Optimus Prime out in the woods, that sound effect comes in. Weird little detail, but it's in there. I guess it was some form of stock sound effect from something that they played around with in World. But very cool. Cool gear, good colors, good flaps. I don't think the fight is S tier, but that is probably the only thing that really kind of marks her down for me. Good ecology, a lot of good everything. Decent presence in like the mid game of the story and everything when you're like first getting into the Coral Highlands. She like deters you from getting in there like twice. So kind of a cool little mini antagonist for the time that she's a part of the story. And then fits the Coral Highlands really well. Built into how that area works quite well. Really dominates the upper regions of it. Feels like it has a really cool presence. That's another cool thing about Pink Rathian in this game is like Pink Rathian is a direct rival to Legiana, so they have a pretty cool dynamic within the Highlands. I
gotta do something really, really quick, so like keep talking to people for like 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's another thing. You got to think about, like, Capcom wants Wilds to sell big, and they want it to sell bad. They want that game to hit as many devices and sell as many copies as possible. Because Wilds is going to be, like, the game. World broke the niche. And then Rise really kind of held onto the niche breaking and really just kind of like further legitimized Monster Hunter as a powerhouse. When we get Wilds to come in, I think Capcom is really going to bank on...
Okay, I'm back.
Jesus Christ, it scared the shit out of me.
Oh, I kind of gotta poop now. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, God.
All right, we're good. Roll.
What, did you poop in your pants?
No, I was talking to my parents.
Okay, cool.
Was I that loud?
I think you might have just been a little bit close to my mic, because you scared the out of me. I think your mouth was just a little close to your mic, because you're not that loud right now.
Alrighty.
But,
where were we?
We are on Odogaron.
Okay. Who was last? Legiana?
Legiana, yeah. Legiana is the top of our list currently.
Yeah, Legiana's very, very amazing, and I feel very validated by putting her up there. Odogaron. I also love Odogaron very much. He's another one. He's a spaz done right. He is a visually sick-looking monster. Bleed is such like a fitting effect for him. Like, it just feels like such Like look at those claws. Like that's what that guy should do. Like bleed, it just seems like such like a cool. I think bleed arguably might be worse than ice blight. Ice blight can go away with a simple chewing of a nullberry. Bleed, you have to sit there and you have to wait, and Odogaron isn't gonna let you wait. Visually, Clifford is an S tier monster. He's so cool looking. His vibe is immaculate. Very similar to it's like Sinister Tony. Tony is like very regal and slithery and like kind of like side eyes you as you walk by. Odogaron is like scary and tough. It's like Halloween. It's like Freddy Krueger. He's supposed to look like Freddy Krueger. He looks like Freddy Krueger.
Oh yeah.
He's awesome. I think he's a spaz done right. He has a very fitting aura. Similar to Anjanath. The theme that's not really his theme feels like his theme. If you Google Odogaron's theme, that theme pops up.
Yep.
And it's called Odogaron's theme. If absolutely goated armor set. Oh my god, it's so cool. Friggin' ninja, samurai, demon mask. Like it is so fitting and so cool. And since everybody loves bringing it up, the Palico armor is also very cool. It's pretty much cat version of what we're looking at right now. How do you not like that? Like wooden demon mask with the hair wig and like the big rope belt. Like that is so cool with like the baggy kind of samurai pants. Odogaron is goated in almost every way. Weapons, I don't think he really has that many weapons. He has some.
He's got a couple. He actually is pretty fortunate having a couple original ones.
Yeah, every monster has sub weapons, and they're just as cool. I mean, everything about him is S right across the board. He's another S. I don't love him as much as I love Legiana, but I do like him more than maybe I don't, because what it's really coming down to right now is I don't go out of my way to okay, here's the thing, right?
Sure.
I go out of my way to fight Radobaan more.
Mm-hmm.
But when a Radobaan shows up, I don't really think about it. When a Odogaron waddles through into the area, I kind of go, ooh, like the boy is here. And his fight kind of makes you sit up and like kind of makes you think. I don't know. He's not cooler than Legiana in my mind, but he is definitely S. It's just kind of coming down to, is he 2 or is he 3? Radobaan's fight may be cooler, but I think Odogaron is a cooler monster and a cooler armor. So I'm going to put Odogaron at 2.
All right.
I love those 3 base game monsters. I think all 3 of them are amazing.
All right. Sick. Everything you said. He's like just straight up one of the coolest out there. Especially for something added in World. He's turbo sick. Like I love this dude. He looks awesome. He's freaky as he's tough. I like the small scrappy dudes. Like that's kind of a fun dynamic where he's smaller than almost everything else in the Veil, but he can beat the out of almost. He's got like a Fisher Cat, like Wolverine type of energy, which is tough. And then like he looks like he's like made out of muscle, even like down to the skin and whatnot. Like the red kind of like bumpy texture and everything, and the double layer of claws. Like he's just tough as. He's just awesome. The fight's wicked fun, really agile, really quick, really kind of dangerous. He gets like those sneaky bleed shots in there and then tries to follow up and wombo combo you while you're bleeding out on the ground. He's tough. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's like I said, bleed just seems like such a fitting blight. And I can't think of, there's not many monsters that do bleed, like loads of them. There's some, but like it just feels like his status effect. Like
in World,
it's just so cool. Yeah, he's very, very good. I love him. Yeah, and I think he's valid up there, and I don't really think anybody's gonna disagree with him being in the high S tier range.
He is pretty beloved. That's for damn sure.
I love him. Yeah, I love him.
All right, let's get to the Rathalos pair.
Similar opinion to Rathian, but slightly cooler.
Okay.
Better than Rathian, visually speaking. I like the look of Rathalos more. Rathalos is again just a dragon, but it feels like he has a little more like oomph to him. Like
for sure, yeah.
I feel like he just has a little more gumption, a little more, he hits a little harder. The poison tail is annoying, but I like, I feel like it happens more often, at least. Does Rathian have the thing where you can get knocked down and get picked up and tossed? Does Rathian do that too or no?
She does not.
Yeah, okay, so that's cool. I like that. I don't mind the punished attacks where you get knocked out and then like Devil Joe flings you up or like
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Picks you up and tosses you. It was really cool in the fight that I did. I fought Rathalos and Azure Rathalos in an arena. So like he like picked me up and like threw me to the upper deck and like landed on me. It was tough. So like I think he's a well represented monster. Like I feel like when he shows up, I kind of like go like, ooh, like yeah, it's like here he is. It's that guy.
Sure.
When Rathian shows up, I'm like, stop spinning. Oh my god, go away, stop spinning.
Sure.
I feel like the poison doesn't happen as often, which kind of gives him that edge as well. Not bad, nothing special. I like him. I like him. I don't like him a lot. I think he's like a low-high visual monster. I don't love his armor, but it's fine. It's high-mid-ish armor. And then like so same with the weapons. Kind of high-mid area. The fight is fine. He's very dragon-y. I mean, how much can a just dragon do? I like his fireballs a little more. They're obviously very similar, but I think, like I said, I just feel like Rathalos offensively does a little more to kind of make you think about it.
For sure.
So I'm going to put Rathalos and honestly, Azure Rathalos can go right next to him. And, we'll go Rathalos in high mid.
Okay.
Does Azure Star-Lord count as Azure Rathalos' armor? You can put Rathalos at the very top of high mid.
Yeah. Not technically. No.
Technically speaking, you have to use a lot of Azure Rathalos parts, but you also have to use like Dodogama parts.
Yeah.
So if the armor is okay, so then his armor is just Rathalos' armor, but blue is cooler. Blue looks better. Is it like the brightest, like coolest, like holy shit blue? Like no, and like you said, the colors kind of just suck in this game.
A little bit, yeah.
But blue is cooler. He hits a little harder. He stays in the air a lot longer, which makes him slightly more annoying.
That's it, typically people's problem with it, yeah.
But blue is cool. So he's going to go one step ahead.
So here or up in low-high?
High mid still. If the Azure Star-Lord armor counted, I would have put him in high.
Sure.
But if it doesn't count, then no, but that armor is tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, I don't think they're supposed to be anything better than low, high, mid. I think they were designed to be that well represented, often showing up mascot monster. Like I don't really think they intended for him to be like the end all be all of monsters. Like I think that like he was designed intentionally to be middling, designed intentionally to be like the hey guys, look who it is, cool enough to be cool but not cool enough to be like the guy. I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
So I think he's a very well represented monster, better than Rathian and better than Pink Rathian, I think. And I don't mind the harder hitting blue, similar to I don't mind some of the other secondary subspecies monsters.
Sure.
And blue is just cooler.
You're pretty much right on the money. So Rathalos and Rathian very much kind of designed to be, again, like quintessential wyvern, fire breathing, using poison, and then Rathalos is the male of the species, the heavier hitting one, the stronger one, the more aerial inclined one, takes like a step up. But yeah, for almost the entirety of Monster Hunter now, Rathalos was very much designed to be like the perfect 4, 5, 6 out of 10, like the very kind of like right on the line, cool enough, very recognizable, very marketable, still pretty good, but there's definitely like there's a lot of stuff that's lamer than him, there's a lot of stuff that's cooler than him. When we get to Rise, specifically Rise and then into Sunbreak, I will be very interested to kind of like get your opinion on him there, because in Rise and Sunbreak, the most recent Monster Hunter games we have, is the time where I feel like the developers were like, alright, we're gonna make this fight sick, and that's gonna be something for you to discover in a couple months when we get there. Yeah, no, for a very long time, he was very designed to be very middle of the road, and World is no exception, and we're talking about Worlds. It makes sense. But yeah, no, he's like right on the line, right in the middle. I also, since we are talking about like blue being cooler and like the colors not being that good in World, especially in like a vibrant sea, let me show ya how good Azure specifically can look. So this is like 3rd and 4th generation Azure Rathalos.
I don't know if I would have to show me the current World one as well. I just want to like I like how his wings aren't green.
You don't like the green?
Mm-mm.
Oh no! Oh, that hurts my. I love the green so much.
I like the blue more, but I don't like the green as much. I don't
Oh
think it.
no! You. Oh, that makes me sad. I love the green.
So if you look at that blue, I feel like it's more of like a realism color. Like I feel like that's what a real, if dragons existed, like that's what a real dragon would look like if they were blue.
Yep.
And then I feel like that one is more of like a cartoonier, like fiction, like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean.
More
like,
fantasy blue.
Yeah, fantasy. That's the word, fantasy blue.
Yeah.
I do like the blue on the green winged one more, but I don't like the green. I just don't think it vibes. I wish it was just another type of blue or gray or something like or black, because like he has black scales too going down his neck, or gray or whatever. Like I wish that's kind of what color they were. Yeah, I don't love the green.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
It definitely pops more, like you're saying, but I don't like it more.
It's okay. I like the green.
What is this, your YouTube channel or something?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Let's get to Uragaan.
Very similar to another monster on this list. I was fighting him, and I'm not gonna lie, I never fought him until I had to for this tier list. Only really because of you guys, because you guys were like, "Oh, he's so bad, he's so terrible, like he sucks, God, he's terrible, like he's the worst." So I was like, "Well, I don't really want to fight this guy if he's that bad." So I started fighting him, and I was like, "Oh, I was like, I don't think he's that bad." I was like, he's fine. Like, I was like, what's people so upset about? Like, what's he so? And then we kept fighting, and we kept fighting, and we kept fighting.
He's tanky in this game.
I was like, God, this guy sucks. God, he's terrible.
He has a lot of health in this game.
Like, he's another one. Do more, man. Like, he drops giblets, smacks his face into the ground. Rolls sometimes. Radobaan rolls more, but I like it more. He, like I said, Beyblade.
And he has more creative rolls too.
Uragaan armor. Can we look that up real quick?
Yep.
Yeah, like the chin slam is fine. The explosive bits is fine. Like, but after a while, it's like, please stop. Like, I don't know. I don't like bulky armor, but I do like his. I like his kind of like clockwork looking.
It's like big brass, like dwarven armor kind of.
Yeah, I like it. Is it amazing? No, but it's not the best. Low high. It's the best part of him, and that's sad. The fight is not good. And he is not good. I don't like him visually as a monster. I don't love the giant butt chin. I know Radobaan kind of has something similar-ish going on, but it's not as bad.
It's better on Radobaan.
I don't like his teeth. I don't like his weird tire treads, and like the fire thing that he does. Radobaan kind of does the same thing, but sleep. That, like, when he kind of like lays down and like explodes. Sure. It's fine, but like, I don't know. He's just like, why are you here, dude? Like, go away. So like, he's Garbo for sure, but like, he's probably king garbage. I don't know. He's just like, he's one of those ones that like, yeah, the fight isn't the worst and the armor is pretty cool, but it's not enough to save him from just how blatantly kind of bad and annoying he is.
Okay.
Low mid is like the highest I'd go. I just don't like him. Like, I fought him once, and I was like, "Yep, never doing that again." He's fine right there, honestly. Actually, no, put him ahead of Kulu.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. I was just putting him there, like, preemptively.
Yeah, like, I get it. Like, he's a big, giant boulder, basically. So, like, I get that he's, like, he kind of has a lot of health. But, like, after a while, it's like, dude, just die. Holy crap, just die.
Yeah, I don't know why he in particular seems to have an absolute mountain of a health pool in this game. But I definitely feel that. Like, I don't think his fight is terrible, but it drags. And that like hurts his like long-term enjoyment.
Yeah, and I kind of wish the, like, for lack of better term, balls that he drops, I kind of wish they did more. Like, I feel like they don't blow up unless he blows them up. It's not like Basil, who drops the bombs, and then even if he's nowhere near them, they still blow up, and they're everywhere. He drops the balls, and the balls just kind of sit there, and, like,
wait to be
slammed. He can literally... Another thing that kind of annoyed the hell out of me, too, is, like, and I get it, it's like a trap, it's, like, meant to be there, but, like, in one of the caverns... kind of where Lavasioth hangs out, there's like the middle part of the floor that spurts lava up. If this man can literally shoot flames out of his stomach. Why does that lava affect him? That kind of also annoyed me. That's like a minor thing, but I was just like, that feels dumb. Like, I feel like him and Lavasioth shouldn't take damage from that. Lavasioth swims in lava. Uragaan shoots lava balls off his ass. What? Like, so like that annoyed me too. And like, yeah, the fight is just like, whatever. His hitboxes kind of blow for swords. I had to switch to a hammer mid-fight. I had to like leave and like go get a hammer.
Yep.
Because I was like, dude, fighting this, I get it. He's a giant rock basically, but I was like, God, like no monster should just be impervious to like a weapon type. And yeah, every time I hit him, clang, 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 and I was like, whatever. I tried to fight everything with the same weapon, but like for him, it was like, oh my God, I'm just gonna get the hammer so this fight ends. I captured him. That's how annoyed I was with the fight. Yeah, it was just kind of like, go away, dude. Like, you're not cool. Like, there's nothing really identifiably amazing about you. I don't think anybody will complain. I think people might say I put him too high. So I definitely don't think I'm gonna get any crap for this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think you will. From what I've seen, Uragaan is not a fan favorite by really kind of any stretch. I think I like him a little bit more than most people, but even myself, I don't think he would cross the threshold into high for me. I think like higher mid would be where I'd put him on like a good day. Like him rolling around in the half pipe is pretty fun. His moveset is okay. Yeah, no, like what Zephyrus was saying, against like Blade Master weapons, his hit zones stink, so he feels like he has a million health, but apparently he says you can melt him with gunner weapons, which is interesting. I think the design is fine. It's cool. It's kind of chunky. It's kind of goofy. I kind of like monsters that are a little dorky sometimes. I kind of agree with you. I think like the bombs should be like a little bit more of a threat when they're coming off of the tail. They really just kind of like limp, roll onto the ground and wait to get blown up. He's fine. He's about as 5 out of 10 as you can get in my opinion.
He's all right. Like, yeah, I don't love him at all. Everyone says that like the little subspecies are worse, though. That's all I hear. Wasn't Steel Uragaan like the worst rated monster in that whole giant rank every monster list that Monster Hunter did?
Yep. So
That's bad. I get that someone had to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone had to be last.
But yeah, no, it's his subspecies came in dead last. That and the subspecies of like a two-parter. Like, he ranked with like a monster who is barely his own boss because he comes with like a two-parter. That's how low he ranked.
Alrighty, who do we got? Oh God,
Lavasioth is next.
He's another one, right? I was like started to fight him, and he was like swimming around in the lava, like doing like dolphin jumps around and stuff, and I was like, all right, like, what's so bad about this guy? And then he's another one. I started to fight him, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's terrible. I was like, his armor is not as cool. I don't like the bulky shoulder pads. His lava fish paladin is not as cool as regular fish paladin.
Yeah, that's the master.
It does not help him. Yeah, it's the one. It does not help him as much. Thank you, Nightlight. You're very, very kind. Yeah, fighting Lavasioth sucked. Everything about him got progressively worse as the fight went on. I hate how he just sits in, like, sometimes he doesn't chase you, and he just like sits there and like spits lava at you, and it's like annoyingly accurate. And like from distance too, like he's sniping me, and I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to sharpen. He knocks really easily too, but then like it also took a while to kill him. Like he was annoying. Everything about him was just annoying. The lava, I will say though, I don't think this is debatable. Lava is just cooler than mud.
I hope you don't find too much blowback on that. That's
If anybody disagrees, you need to go get checked.
Well, actually, I think mud is considerably cooler than molten lava.
Yeah, so like, yeah, lava fish is cooler than mud fish, but like, is that really anything to write home about? He's a garbage monster with a garbage fight with like mid armor. Come on now, go join your boy down in garbage. He's terrible, but he's one ahead of Jyuratodus. Obviously, as I've said. Yeah, and I feel valid there. My note verbatim on the report card was just terrible. That's
Go ahead.
Yeah, I hate him. He's terrible. I don't care. And everyone kind of prepped me for that, though. I was prepared because other people said once one time in Bone Boys, I said something along the lines of that I haven't fought him yet because I just don't want to because he reminded me so much of Jyuratodus. And everybody in the stream was like, oh, well, he's worse. And I was like, okay. And then I started fighting him and I was like, is he though? I was like, he's fine. And then as the fight went on, I was like, he's not fine. He's absolutely terrible.
So in my perspective, I might have told you about this, and I think I've definitely said this on stream before, but do you wanna hear like the grand Lavasioth conspiracy theory?
Sure.
So, okay. This is kind of layered, and this goes back to like the shallow water fights with like Jyuratodus and everything. I've shown you this guy before because this is one of the ones from one of the previous tier lists. But there's this guy called Legiana. He's a big old fan favorite. He is like the poster boy of Monster Hunter Tri. He's a big old shock crocodile looking motherfucker.
Where the does this loser come into any of this?
Okay.
Not this guy. Where does Lavasioth come into any of that cool guy right there?
This is the start of the conspiracy theory. So, we have test footage. So this is an early build of Monster Hunter World. And Laggy was going to be in this game. He was going to be in World. There is an issue, however, we know this now, that he has a particular skeleton where his belly rests on the ground. And because of the fact that World has very uneven terrain, it was a nightmare for them to get like the rig to work and to get the skeleton to work. So here he is in like the test footage for World in this image. But he's not in World. They had to cut him. They couldn't get the run to work. Like, this is just, like, test footage. This was basically, like, a pre-built cinematic that they had going that they showed behind closed doors. So this is a dude who was in the game, got cut from the game. Now, Legiana has a very closely, similarly built monster from the same era called Agnactor, whom we've also seen on... Yes. Previous tier list. Exact same issue, right? He has the exact same body structure, belly dragging along the ground, very snake-like, uneven terrain, nightmare to get rigging and whatnot. So Agnactor has a gimmick. So you see like the lava on his chest, on his beak, on his forelimbs, on his tail. So he has a gimmick, right? Where if he touches lava, all of those parts of his body will heat up. They will ignite. They'll catch on fire and they'll soften. They'll get much, much, much easier to hit. And then you give it like a little bit of time and whatnot, and they'll start to cool off and they'll start to like get like really, really rigid and really, really tough and whatnot. But he goes like in and out of the ground and in and out of the lava so fast that there's like a rhythm to it. And also he can like heat up parts of his body with like certain attacks. Like he can heat up his chest. He can heat up his beak. So he has, that is the mechanic that he has. So he has this like cooling and uncooling and cooling and uncooling lava armor, dynamic on certain parts of the body. And he has a mechanic where you can chip off the lava armor on his legs, on his chest, on his belly, on his tail and everything. And if you chip that off, it can't ignite or harden. So it'll like, you can turn these defensive points into like weak points and whatnot. So this was something that Agnactor had. And Agnactor is very closely related to Legiana. So they're both in the game. Lavasioth in World is absolutely nothing like the Lavasioth from his previous installations. So Lavasioth is a monster that existed in previous games. He dates back to like Frontier, so like 2007. He used to be much, much larger. He used to look a lot different. Here's like an action shot of him. He used to be a lot different. He had his own moveset. He was very different. Like a lot of the original Lavasioth moves are not in World. Like, he has a whole kit that you haven't even fought from his previous incarnations. Lavasioth also, because he has the heating and the cooling armor, like Agnactor has. Previous versions of him never, ever had it. It wasn't a thing. It was purely static. There was no, like, cooling and uncooling and heating and whatnot. And unlike Agnactor, Lavasioth has much, much less of a pace of going in and out of lava. And he has fewer and fewer attacks that, like, heat up different parts of the body. And fewer body parts to break off and make into weak points like Agnactor does. He is not built for that same dynamic. So the grand conspiracy theory that I have is Legiana and Agnactor were going to be in World, got cut for the skeleton, but they had the lava armor gimmick already all set and programmed, and they probably at this point already had Jyuratodus. So in a panic, They took Jyuratodus, they cloned it, they gave the lava armor programming to him, they scaled him down, they cut out his entire original moveset, gave him Jyuratodus' moveset, and made him a lame clone piece of garbage that is absolutely nothing like every other version of him from every other game he's been in. That is the Lavasioth conspiracy theory.
And this isn't just a you thing, this is like a popular theory?
I'm the one who is saying it very loudly. I think other people have said something like it, but I have said this multiple times.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the grand theory.
Yeah, that is something that tracks.
That world just like sabotaged him completely. So a whole lot of people think he sucks when he used to be like, he wasn't amazing. He wasn't a 10 out of 10, but he was better. He was cool.
Yeah, that's valid.
So I hope he comes back. Diablos and Black Diablos is where we are next.
See, if anybody listened to Old Bone Boys, I used to talk about how I avoided Diablos like the plague, because as you may have seen in the very first stream we ever did,
legendary moment.
All-time classic moment. Diablos was kind of like my first enemy, like he was tough. I had a hard time beating him. Like, he was legitimately tough for me. And funny story, when I went to go do the tier list, grading, and I, went to go fight him one-on-one, I literally jumped in, and I was like, Jesus. I was like, this guy's kicking my ass. I was getting dragged. I couldn't even move. And then I paused the game, and it's like master rank. And I was like, get me out of here. I couldn't hit him. I was like, holy crap. But then I went back and I fought him in master rank, high rank. And I was like, this dude's a blast. I was like, he's so fun. Visually, I hate it. I don't like his mouth. And you know me and the horns. I don't love big, giant, protruding horns. Okay. So visually, I don't love him. But he's an S tier fight. Cool. When I really got into the bottom of the sand waterfall area, and he started jumping through, doing that I've never seen him do before when I fight with you guys because he dies so quick. Sure. I was like, holy crap. I was like, this guy's wicked fun. Visually, like I said, high mid. Okay. But the fight is goated for real. That shit was so tough, especially when he goes into the waterfall. I call it the sand waterfall layer. That's what they are, yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what they are. The diving and the jumping it out of the sand is for it makes for a really fun fight. I love when he goes under and jumps up and the hole in the roof that he can make and stuff that's just such a cool vibe about him. Tail whipping sometimes, questionable hitbox. The running into you hurts like hell, but that doesn't mean it's bad or anything. Yeah, you would assume with those sticking out of his head. Yeah. The armor, on the other hand, this is where it's not great. I say I hate bulky armor. It's not great. The armor is really bad. Could they make it cooler? Yeah, I don't like how the hip pieces, and I get that that's kind of a samurai-ish thing, that see how his hip pieces are disconnected and they kind of hook on. It's hooked on plates rather than the actual physical on the armor. I understand that the horns are a super integral part of his design, but I don't like them on the shoulders. Yeah, I just don't love them. I don't love the armor at all. I don't like him visually, but the fight is super crazy fun. So for me, that kind of puts him in, he might be the only one. I think he is, if the tier list loads. He is. I don't like him more than Tobi, but he is better than Rathalos. So he's going to go in low-high. Okay. And Black Diablos, a lot of people don't like as much. I do. I think Black Diablos is visibly cooler. I like black more than sand colored. It's a very good color look for Diablos, yeah. He's more intimidating. He is aggressive. He hits way harder. She's scary in this game. Yeah. Obviously, the fight is extremely similar, but not similar enough that it's worse or anything. So I think he's in low-high, but one step above. Yeah, I love him. He's very cool.
Diablos is very much old reliable, so he dates back to the OG Monster Hunter, back with like Rathalos and Rathian and everything. Old monsters. And he comes around a lot. He's been in the majority of the games. It's kind of like Charizard. Rathalos is Pikachu. He's been in like everything. He's like the poster boy and everything. Diablos is kind of Charizard. Also first game, also super popular, also really big, gets a lot of like cool versions and everything. Isn't like the craziest, coolest thing of all time, but it's still generally pretty good.
A little edgier, a little gruffier, a little toughier, you know?
Yeah, Diablos is very Charizard to me. Pretty damn good fight. It's definitely better than it used to be. If you fought some of like the classic, like older Diablos, kind of bad. They've definitely made them a lot more interesting and a lot more fun and have like a lot more fun stuff to do in World and vice versa, so I'm glad he got that kind of glow up. I'm quite fond of the design. I don't think this one's my favorite. I think I like middle generation Diablos a little more. Even like the Rise one. This pose in particular I don't think is particularly good, because like this is the same exact model, but this looks way better.
I don't love his tail either. That's another thing, but like minor. Go to the other picture. Yeah, I don't like how his teeth are like flared out, like buck-toothy kind of like, yeah.
They're positioned a little weird. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I don't love him visually, but like I said, the fight is so fun. I love the fight very much.
I kind of like the simplicity to him. It's like big, tan, kind of like monocolor, and he's just this big, like bullhorned desert dragon. It's kind of tough.
He looks like a dude who swims in sand.
Yeah.
And that's fine, obviously. Yeah, the armor does not do it for me in any way.
No, it's not good armor. It really isn't. I will not defend the armor. It's not
like
good.
I've as many of you can tell, and I'm not very quiet about it, I'm a big slim armor guy. The bulkiest armor that I've liked is like Radobaan, but like just because it like looks cool, but like I wouldn't wear Radobaan's armor. It just looks cool. But yeah, that armor is a tad chunky. I think even if you slimmed out the horns on top, I still don't think it really saves it.
I don't think we're disappointing anybody with this one. What are we thinking about Bazel?
He has undoubtedly the best theme in the game. It's not even close.
It's really good.
A lot of people, I didn't let any of these sway my opinion, but a lot of other tier list videos by other Monster Hunter people are like that they think he invades too often. Because he pretty much, if he's there, he comes.
Yep.
And invades every single time. But like, I don't think he stays long enough to make it annoying. I think he flies in, bombs, the music plays, stays for a few minutes, crashes, leaves. Does he come back? Probably. But like, it's not enough to annoy me. Visually speaking, and I said this in the last video, I still don't love his like skin tag look to like his bombs, but I do love the plating on top, basically. So you can't really see it in that picture, but like, yeah, right there. I do like that. And then I love his armor. His armor is so cool. The fight is fun. Oh yeah, look at that, dude. That is so tough. It's like eagle looking armor.
It's like eagle lion armor. Yeah.
Yeah. Eagle, lion, knight, paladin, Native American warrior, knight, man. It's like, oh my God. So good. Yeah. Bazel is like a German bomber, and like the propaganda music that plays is really fun.
Oh, that's absolutely what it's modeled after. Yeah.
Yeah. Scrunkly. I kind of thought the same thing. Like, isn't that what he's supposed to do? He's an invader. Wouldn't it be weird if he was there and didn't invade? One minor, it's just to complain for the sake of complaining. Hunting him sucks. I like when he shows up because I don't have to find him. If you have to find him, it's so annoying because he doesn't stop moving. I don't know. When he shows up, it's not like, I don't feel like he stops me more than he hurts the other monster.
Honestly, he's usually a benefit.
Yeah. Again, not really into the, he's going to S tier. Amazing. Turf wars often. The bombing never gets old. He has one of the best roars in the game, one of the best armors in the game. He's a top 3 monster for sure. But I like Legiana more, and he's going to go in second place behind Legiana.
Cool.
I love Legiana. I think being the only ice monster in base game is kind of a benefit because there's not a lot like her. And I just love her. I love Legiana. But Bazelgeuse is a very close second. He's awesome. When he shows up, I don't, like I said, I don't get disappointed. I get excited. Armor's sick, weapon's sick, everything's sick. He's sick. If you don't like him, stupid. You're dumb. And that's fine. You can be stupid and dumb. We all are, aren't we? But man, when he's cool, he's cool. I love him. So I think S tier is where he belongs, but I don't think he's the best in the game. I do think there's not cooler, but like there are monsters I like more. I'll say it like that.
I think he might be my he's up there in terms like world original if he's my favorite. Like Nergigante's up there, Odogaron's up there. But dude, he's like, especially like the first time he shows up, because you're out in the desert, you're like, oh, I just hit high rank, we're fighting like Pukei-Pukei again, we're fighting Kulu-Ya-Ku again, and then just like tunk 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 in the ground. You're like, what is that? And then you just hear like this massive roar, and there's this shadow the size of a building over you, and just what the fuck is that? And then it comes crashing into the ground and everything blows up.
Oh my god, it's so cool.
Iconic, dude. It's amazing. He's so good. He's good.
For real. Yeah, so like he's the man. I love him, and he's where he belongs.
How do we feel about the original Invader, Devil Joe?
Joe is my nemesis, my villain. He is that guy. I mean, he is... Diablos was like my first nemesis, but like it wasn't anything outrageous. I spent like a day fighting Devil Joe before I beat him. I would always have him on the ropes. I would always have him like close, and then he'd run, like he'd leave the locale. The visual is sick. I don't love the chunky tail. I kind of wish he had like a slightly smaller tail. Like I don't love the giant bulky tail in the back. Like the head and the face is sick. The like rows of spikes is sick. The little baby arms is sick. He's terrifying. When he shows up, it's like, yikes. Like, when Bazelgeuse shows up, it's like, yay. But when Pickle shows up, it is like, ooh, God, okay, like, this fight really changed. He's definitely more than just a dinosaur. He's not just, like, some fucking, like, T-Rex don't look like that. He's probably, and I would say, one of the highest personality monsters in the game. Like, he has definitely one of the most, eccentric personalities in the game. He's scary. His weapons are sick. His hammers are sick. I don't love his armor. His armor kind of makes me feel like a dude in a Godzilla suit from like an old movie. Don't love it. Like I said, arguably the most personality in the game. He's got a super interesting move set. I don't feel like he spams. The Dragon Blight is kind of like an out of nowhere thing. Like, why could he do that? But like, it's cool. It's wicked cool. It's visually very cool, as well as punishy. Like, if you get hit by Dragon Blight, it's like... It's easy to get rid of, but it's like an actual thing you have to worry about. I like when he knocks you down and you can like shoot him to get him off you, or like he that move where he like stomps on you and like picks you up. That move hurts. I would argue, Moy, that his armor is very Power Ranger-y. It's super Power Ranger villainy. It's just ugly. There's a difference.
It feels like a WWE wrestler to me.
Pull up his armor.
Yeah.
Oh, and then like him like picking up Dodo, like that's so cool. Yeah, like that's super Power Ranger villainy. That dude's from a Power Ranger. That guy is a straight up Power Ranger villain. It's just ugly. It's like got a bucket head.
He looks like he talks like this.
Yeah. giant bulky shoulder pads for no reason. The legs are kind of cool. And the belt is cool.
He's got his wrestling championship belt.
But it's not that cool. But it is not nearly enough to keep him out of S. That armor it's not my favorite, but it's not like the worst, but it's definitely not enough. You would have to try really hard to keep this guy out of S. Okay, I'm going to say it again. I don't like him more than Legiana. So the conversation really is he cooler than Basil? And I say yes. I think he is. I think the fight is a tad more interesting. I feel like, and again, I get it, like, the shtick of Basil is dropping bombs. But I feel like he kind of relies on it a little heavily. I definitely feel like Devil Joe is way more aggressive and in your face, and his fight is a little more creative. I feel like Bazelgeuse kind of relies on the shtick, and Devil Joe kind of is just a tad more fun in your face and creative. But it's close. It's very close. So, yeah, I would say Devil Joe is top 3 monster in the game. Ooh, man, I got a hard decision coming up with somebody. In my head, that was the top 3. I didn't think that would change, but I see somebody coming up.
Okay.
That is definitely going to change that.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay.
Deviljho is definitely one of the old school legends. So he is the pioneer of the whole idea of invader monsters like Bazel. So monsters like Bazel and a couple of the ones we're going to meet in like Iceborne, that whole concept like exists because of Deviljho. So he was cool. He was one of the few high rank exclusive monsters in the first Monster Hunter game I ever played, that being Monster Hunter Tri back in like 2010 for the Wii. There was a bird wyvern in that game that had the ability to like mimic roars and whatnot. So he would summon like Rathians to fights and like other boss monsters into fights and like get them to like fight alongside him and fight his battles for him. And like, oh, that's a really cool gimmick. But you get into high rank, right? Like the early levels of high rank, because he was like a piddly little like second boss in the game, and he lets out this like really, really deep, angry sounding roar. And like that doesn't sound like Rathian. And then like this Godzilla would appear out of nowhere that was not in the first half of the game and not in the offline quests, and it would just roll up and start killing everything. And this was back when Monster Hunter had like the loading zones in between areas, so you couldn't see it coming in the distance. It just materialized in the battle zone, and there was this dinosaur that was 3 times the size of the bird you were fighting, and it can now like kill you immediately, and it was amazing. And ever since then, he's always been like really, really cool, and he comes back in World as like the first DLC monster in World. Like, oh, that's really cool, like Deviljho's sick. And then they added the whole thing of him like picking up like the little baby boss monsters and slamming them into the ground and using them as weapons and shit. And it was so cool. Yeah, no, he's one of the greats.
Yeah, he's valid. He belongs where he's at. I just like Legiana more personally.
Yeah,
Am I saying Legiana is better? No. But I do think Legiana is more of a favorite of mine. But Joe is just undeniable. Walter really said it best right a second ago. Bazelgeuse is more of a presence with his theme, and Joe brings presence with his personality. That is so valid. Because like I said, when Bazelgeuse shows up, it's like tee funny eagle dragon. And then like when Joe shows up, it's like oof, yikes, like the whole fight got thrown on its ass, because now the Dodogama I was fighting is being thrown at me.
Yeah, now he's the weapon.
I love Deviljho. I hate to love him or love to hate him. He's like the villain. Now it's like, now he's nothing. Now I could rock it easy. But like back then when I was like doing the list, it was tough, because when I like finally killed one, I was like shaking like because it took me, I think I kept messaging the chat, it took me like 8 or 9 straight tries back to back to get him, because I could get him to limp, but he would always leave the locale. I could never kill him in time.
That was the day I knew I got you.
Yeah, first. Yeah, you put that on YouTube or the chat or something. Yeah, because that was the day I definitely was got, because I was like, dude, like I couldn't stop. I like spent the whole day fighting him. You know what? Let's get a checkup on the old list. It's been a minute.
Sure.
Yeah, Radobaan went way up. Deviljho went way up. Bazelgeuse went way up.
Mm-hmm. Anjanath went way up.
Anjanath went way up. Paolumu went down one hardly. Uragaan went. What was I thinking with Uragaan?
I don't know. I think we said the word Thanos chin and you laughed.
Probably.
The Rathalos went down a little bit. Not shocked. Their fights aren't the most interesting.
Dodogama went way down.
Yeah. Odo went up a little bit. Girros went way down. Tobi goes up a smidge.
Lavasioth went down.
Yeah. Legiana goes up to, I think the Diabloses are right where we left them. Yeah, no, there's a couple, especially like Bazel, Deviljho, and Radobaan being like some of your favorites are like.
Radobaan was like a Rocky Balboa-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Man from the bottom story for real. Okay, the winner of the original list.
Yeah, this is the original winner.
It's a lightning unicorn. The vibes are immaculate. I mean, that's cool. Can't get much cooler than a lightning unicorn. However, I like how it's different than a lot of other fights. Like, I like how, like the big set pieces where, like, Kieran gets to their spot. And then, like, the floor glows and lightning strikes in the glowing spots. And, like, the lines show up. And then, like, lines of lightning come out. Very not Monster Hunter-esque boss fighting techniques, if that makes sense. Like, boss set pieces, if you will. are cool. Like, I like how not a lot of monsters have those, so, like, it feels different. A lot of monsters are more, like, combat-y, like, face-to-face kind of fighting, and, like, Kieran kind of has, like, AoE fighting, which is different. However, I don't like how Kieran doesn't really fight back when you're hitting them.
He doesn't have a lot of physical attacks.
No, like, once you get in Kieran's face, you got him. Because he, like, kicks once, and that's, like, it. Like, he should be running at you and, like, skewering you and, like, you know, horse kicking you up in the air. And, you know, there should be a lot more. The vibe of the Lightning Unicorn is immaculate. The fight itself is cool-ish in creativity, but not really cool in, like, application and execution. And then don't even get me started on that armor. Oh, Scrunkly, I'm sorry. I knew you would too, but like we disagree. That armor is, in my opinion, odd to say the least. I don't know why. Why does Lightning Unicorn have like gimp armor? Like I feel like we could have lived without that. Pull it up just so we can take a look.
This is absolutely getting a sense.
Yeah, block screen, please.
Yeah, I know. You trust me. I know what they. I
know
which armor set gets.
Yeah,
I know which armor sets.
Yeah, some of those aren't too bad, but yeah, what the?
That is.
Let's just be real, man. That is not practical. That ain't gonna protect you from nothing.
That dude looks like he comes out of a cake at a bachelorette party.
Yeah, for real. That guy's a stripper. Some knocks on the door. Did some hunters order Kieran? He's gonna. First off, he has like a 9-pack. His abs have abs. I mean, good for him. But wow, that armor is bad. Like. Not good. The female armor is better because, like, you know, it just kind of, like, I don't know. Like, I like how it just seems like an outfit.
It's not armor, like, but it's less stupid.
He's, you know, like she looks like, that looks like an outfit. The shorts, the skirt, the stomach showing, like the crop top, sure. He looks like he's going to, like, a weird party. Yeah. With, like, weird leather pants. And we can stop talking about it. That armor's terrible. Some of the weapons are really cool. The armor is not too good, so you aren't winning this list this time, Buster. The fight is fine. It's nothing crazy. This ranking is mostly based off vibes of Lightning Unicorn, but honestly, it's gonna stay in high. Hardly. It's gonna fall to... Think of it this way. I definitely don't go out of my way to fight Kieran, but I would go out of my way to fight a Diablos. I'm going to drop it all the way to high.
Okay. So
under Diablos.
Cool.
I like the idea of Kieran. I like the idea of the fight. Like I said, you know, once you start swinging, Kieran's toast. It's not even that like it can't do anything. It doesn't do anything. Like, it refuses to fight. Physically, the monster is very cool. The fight is not. The armor is terrible. So I think low-high is where it is, but it's definitely being carried by the Lightning Unicorn. The armor is not helping. The fight is not helping. It's pretty much only in high because it's a unicorn that pisses lightning. Kieran the idea versus Kieran the man. Yeah, honestly.
So I have a bit of a hot take in that I'm actually a pretty big Kieran fan, and I know a lot of the community is not. Though I will concede, I do think it is very weapon matchup dependent. I also think you make a pretty good point that I hadn't even thought of, where like he has like a couple of like get off me lightning attacks, but in terms of like him actually like doing physical hits and whatnot, he has like two things. He has a charge attack and a kick. Like, he would probably be a little bit more engaging if he had a couple more, like, kicks and horn slices and skewers and whatnot. That would probably be a pretty good improvement for him.
He's a horse. He should dig in his back leg and charge at me. Like, he should try to, like a wild animal. But, like, yeah, the fact that he doesn't have those really kind of hinders.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point. I think he would benefit from that. With, like, his actual lightning attacks, and he also has a gimmick where he can, like, make his body a lot tougher, it deters a lot of people from liking him. I very specifically run Switch Axe against Kieran, because the sword form of Kieran has a property to it where it will never bounce. So, and Switch Axe, especially in the sword form, has some decent maneuverability to it. So that particular matchup, specifically, you go in, you get a couple of hacks in, like he brings the lightning bolts down, you're able to like dive back out and then go back in and hack back at him, and then you see the lightning bolts coming. I think that very particular dance is a lot of fun. So I have a very specific build and a very specific matchup that makes him a very fun fight for me under specific circumstances. So I understand completely why he's not a lot of people's favorite. He does have some gimmicks that are obnoxious, but I'm always a person who likes to oh, what does this monster do? What's its moveset like? What's its gimmicks? Okay, let's build a weapon that goes.
I run in and I bonk. And
yeah, no, it. And I totally get that. I don't think lesser of any. I don't you're a moron. You have to play it my way. Totally 100% fine. But I definitely have a take where it's I have found this particular loadout that makes Kieran really fun, and because of that I only run that loadout against Kieran, and thus I only have fun fighting him. So that's me on him. I quite like him.
I'm trying to think of ways to make it cooler. You know what would be cool? I think every monster should have a punish attack. If you are dumb enough to get in the way of this attack, you get punished. Kieran should like a horse or like a bull. You know, when horses and bulls kick their back, dig their back foot into the ground and scrape and they charge at you. If you are dumb enough to get in the way of that, it should spear you
on obviously the horn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, it shouldn't visibly go through you. It's like a PG-13 game, but it should lift you up in the air above its head and lightning call down on you, and then you should be lightning bladed. Wouldn't that be the coolest attack in the game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is.
Yeah,
I think that would be cool. I think a few just physical attacks would be cool. If it lightning bolted itself and then it got faster and then it came up to you and how mooses trample people by standing up on their back legs and punching down, something like that. I think how cool would it be if instead of prancing around like a horse, Kieran lightning bolted itself and then bing, friggin' flash stepped at you. That would be the only lightning thing it does is it calls down the row of lightning and the lightning circle, and that's it. And I just think there's so much more that they didn't do, and I think they relied on the vibes.
Sure. Let's
but I like it. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Let's bring it to the poster boy of world. What do we think about Nergigante?
He's not a monster I fought a lot, so when I did fight him the other day, I was like, holy shit, this is so fun. He's so cool. The when you chop off his horns, it's so chunky and it feels good. The fight is a blast. Visibly speaking, I love how he looks. I don't usually like giant horns. I don't mind his giant horns. I like how his eyes look. I like the underbelly of him. I like his move where he puts his wing into the ground and where he drags his wing on the ground and puts his spikes into you.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's wicked fun. The roar is there. The visibly he's an amazing monster. The fight is a blast. I love when he breaks down that wall.
Yeah, and then you see the silhouette and the smoke and shit. Yeah,
so cool. I'm gonna say it. You might not. You definitely don't agree. I don't have to say you might. I think he's the best Elder Dragon.
Okay.
Obviously, I think you may have somebody ahead of him.
I might.
Just a guess. Just a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's so fun. The armor is sick. It reminds me of evil devil demon paladin evil oathbreaker armor or something. His armor, I hear the woman armor is bad, but the male armor,
it's very barbarian warrior lady.
Yeah. I like the other one a little more, even the whatever. If that's the alpha, I like the beta, or vice versa. Yeah. I kind of like the horns that go out rather than up. Yeah, I love the colors. I think if you're going to give somebody the ability to change color of an armor, it should change all the colors. There should not be colors that are locked to certain armor, and there's certain armor that does that. When you change the Nergigante armor, all those orange lines turned a different color. I love that. His armor is cool, and it's not too bulky to not be cool. Like, it's bulky, but like it's good bulky.
Yeah, it's like it's more jacked than it is like huge.
Yeah, a lot of his weapons that I see, like the long swords and stuff, are fine, but like not enough to hurt him by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure there is something cool. Like, yeah, the gun lance is kind of cool. That is sick. What is that? That has to be.
That's a great sword.
Is that just the high rank greatsword?
That is the high rank greatsword. Yeah.
Off. Okay, let's check my notes. I've kind of been going ad lib here.
Sure.
Goated monster, amazing fight, amazing OST, amazing moveset. That's my notes. Best Elder Dragon. I gotta go with my notes. Top 3 monster. Who gets kicked out though?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Basil is your current number 3.
Yeah, okay, but here's the question. Does Joe stay 2 or does Joe go to 3? I think personally, now this is my fault. This is not Nergagante's fault. I have more of a relationship with Devil Joe since I fought him significantly more.
That can factor in, sure.
We kind of have that thing going. I have that like relationship with Devil Joe. I go to him first. Like, I think of fighting him first. Nergigante is now on my radar for show because that fight the other day when I was ranking him was so fun. I personally think the relationship and history I have with Devil Joe, history is definitely a better word for this, is gonna put him slightly above. Slightly. So Devil Joe is going to stay at 2. Poor Bazelgeuse in my notes. I put top 3 monster for 4 monsters.
You know what? He can also deserve it.
But now I'm thinking, is so now we got to think, right? What do I value more? Because Bazelgeuse has cooler armor and a cooler theme.
Yep.
Is Bazelgeuse a cooler dragon, though? Is Bazelgeuse a cooler monster? Maybe it's close. And then I definitely don't think Bazelgeuse has cooler weapons. So it's close. It's like 2 for 2. So what do I kind of value more? Do I value the OST and the armor? I'm a big armor guy. Or do I value because I think Nergigante gets the edge visually.
Yeah.
But Bazelgeuse definitely may have a better spot in my heart just because of how fun he is. Zorah Magdaros doesn't do Nergigante justice. I will say that's a very bad introduction to Nergigante. He shows up for 8 seconds. You hit him 3 times, and he's like, "Oh, I've been defeated," and runs away. When you actually go to fight him, you know what? And this is again not Bazelgeuse's fault. You know what puts Nergigante ahead for sure? The what feels dedicated boss area. That alcove with the giant like crystal shards and spikes all over the place, with like the columns that he knocks down, and then like going into that like back, cavern area with the wall, definitely puts him ahead for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing putting Devil Joe ahead of Nergigante is the history that I have with Devil Joe. Everything else, Nerg may be a cooler fight. Nah, now that I say that, not really. But maybe. I love everybody in S. Man, I'm stressing. Yeah, I think I'm good there. Yeah, Nest, if you want to call it that, Blast Shooter. Yeah, Nest is a good one. I like the word layer. It makes them feel evil and like bosses. I like how Nergigante kind of is a little more aggressive than the other Elder Dragons. Like Vaal Hazak I kind of like how Vaal Hazak just like walks by you. Nerg is a little more like, who the f are you? And what are you doing here? And like kind of stares at you and like walks at you. Like I like that a lot more. Like a lot of the other Elder Dragons are more regal and just kind of walk away, which is also cool. I kind of feel like that kind of gives them some aura. Like it makes them feel like I don't gotta fight you because I'm an Elder Dragon and I'm tough.
Sure.
So like, I like that a lot. But yeah, Nergigante in my opinion is the best Elder Dragon. Spoiler alert for the next 4, 5, 6 Elder Dragons on the list.
Yeah, man, they could be all over the list. He's a really good poster boy. I mean, he's tough. They slowly start to introduce him in. They build up like a cool menace. He's got a little bit of history with the characters. If you actually read some of the dialogue, and you find that Barroth dead in the Jyuratodus quest with spikes all over him. He shows up infiltrating the Zorah hunts. It's cool. And then he's apparently riling up the Elder Dragons. And then I mean, they built up an Elder Dragon they like to make Elder Dragons these big elemental walking natural disaster powerhouses, and then they made one that is just blood and gore and muscle and violence, and his specific role is killing and eating other Elder Dragons, and that's just cool. That's just tough. And then like the whole mechanic with like his quills and everything, he'll hit the ground so hard that he rips his own spikes off, and then he starts to regenerate his own body parts, and they start off like all white and like soft and whatnot, and they're weak points. You can try and break them, but if you don't, then they go to like full black and they harden up, and then he'll break all of them simultaneously with that dive bomb. Like, that's such a cool idea. And then every other flagship in 5th generation had a gimmick where you can like target certain body parts to like break them out of more powerful forms, and none of them did it better than Nergigante. He's such a cool like learning monster because his damage is pretty good considering like World is not the toughest Monster Hunter game, and like the spikes and everything, so you start like gradually losing these points on his body where you can attack him, and then he punishes you with like a really meaty hit. He can usually one-shot you with like where you are in the story at that point. It teaches you to like be aggressive, it teaches you to be like active, to get up in his face, to like go for it. He's a really good learning monster, and I think his combat design is excellent. I think his design is wicked cool. His theme is really good. He's got an even better version of his theme with like the arch-tempered form of him, which I should definitely get you to listen to at some point. His gear's tough.
That's what everyone keeps saying.
Yeah, he's awesome. So let's move it to Kushala Daora.
Visually, the coolest Elder Dragon visually. Okay, so remember, and a lot of people said it. A lot of people said who reads when you said read the dialogue.
I do.
So my game's in Japanese, so that was a oversight on my part. But is Kushala actually made out of metal? Because it looks like it.
Kinda, yeah. He does have like a bioorganic metal over his body,
which looks very cool. Kushala gets so let me go over the good parts of Kushala first before I get to the blatant in-your-face identifiable bad parts.
I knew this was coming.
The dragon itself is very cool. Is it just a dragon? Yes, it is. Visually just a dragon. Obviously, dragons don't make tornadoes and don't spit wind.
Yeah, very dragony dragon design, for sure.
Yes, but but it's cool. It's very cool. I like the metal vibe. The armor is cool. It doesn't necessarily fit the vibe of like Kushala. It makes me like pull up the armor. To me, when I see this armor, I think of like Atlantis fish army. Yeah, like doesn't that kind of look like fishy Atlantis-y, or like you know what else might be a better one? Elfheim, Elfie kind of.
It is a little. The helmet is a little like God of War 2018 Elfheim.
I'm not sure where Kushala, and then like the earpieces are kind of like fish gills, like fish flaps. I don't know what to call them. Flippers.
I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, like fish samurai kind of vibe. I dig it, but like I'm not really sure how Kushala fits into all that. But it is very cool armor. It's fine armor. It's nothing crazy. It's like cool. His insect glaive is a squid. Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
See, like, where does that
he has a very interesting, and I'm not sure where this came from. A lot of his armor and weapons have animal inspirations, and I'm not particularly sure why, but they base a lot of his gear off of animals.
His bow is a horse.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, the armor does not fit him. What is he? Some like mythological god or something? Someone said Egyptian. Someone said Egyptian.
There's got to be something specific about it. Yeah, no, there's.
Doesn't that looks kind of the bow. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see me pointing.
Yeah, let me go to your house real quick.
That looks kind of like Roman. You know what I mean? Like Greek god kind of vibe.
Someone said the Zodiac. There's no squids in the Zodiac. That's a good guess, but I don't think it's that.
Yeah, I like you thinking out of the box. You know what's funny? If you didn't say that, Connor, I would have been like, maybe I would have been in on that.
Yeah, I'm not it's very Greek Roman themed. On the topic of insect lives, I only recently noticed they have a trigger for shooting the insect tag. My favorite Zodiac sign, the squid. Maybe just Greek Roman theme in general. The squid could be a kraken. Maybe he's the omni-spirit animal. Yeah, no, they base a lot of his gear on animals, and I don't really understand why. Like, it's...
Here I am thinking I get an answer on game FAQs. Someone said, like, did anyone realize that all of Kushala's weapons represent animals? For example, the greatsword is an eagle. Show me the greatsword. The greatsword is an eagle, and the bow is a horse, blah, 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 blah. And the top voted answer is insect glaive squid.
Yeah, there's the eagle. He's got his head right there, and then he's got a big wing.
Oh, yeah, with a weird turkey leg.
Yeah. The blade's sick as f***.
That is sick. The dragon itself is cool. Obviously, I think the weapons are pretty cool. I feel like that dragon gets in its own way so bad when you fight it. Like, it sometimes, like... So here's a little story of when I fought it. Because I've only fought it twice. With you and then with myself. So I fought it. And in the third and final phase, it brought me up to, like, the top of the mountain with that little platform in the middle where it sleeps.
Yep.
I go up there. I was using a greatsword. So I go up there and I, back up and I bing bong, and I jump on it and I freaking come slam it down to wake it up. When that happens, it summons tornadoes all around the platform. So it's just Kushala flying back and forth, landing on the platform, swinging at you. You're fighting it. And I'm like, wow, like, maybe this is kind of cool. And then what does the motherfucker do? He summons a tornado on the platform. So I get locked on the platform. And then when I fly off the platform, I get sent into another tornado. And, like, he just spams tornadoes. And they last way too long. Way. If they lasted half as long, they'd be so much cooler. Or, like, even if they moved and he could only summon one at a time or two at a time, that'd be cool. Or, like, in the first phase, he summons one. And then the second phase, he summons two. Like, that would be cool. But, like, the fact that he can just spam them, and then... he also doesn't really do a whole lot else. I get it. He's just kind of... And I don't know if it was just the fight. He knocks out of the air wicked easy. Like, he was floating above me, and I whacked him in his toe, and he, like, was like... and he fell to the ground and, like, started flopping around, and I was like, oh. So he flies back up, I hit him again, and he fell back down again. And so, like... And then there's also times where, like, I feel like the fight is just coded poorly. Like, it's not even like he summons tornadoes to trap you and then comes after you to try to get you to, like, move around. He summons the tornadoes and then sits in them.
Yep.
And just spits at you.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, like, and then, like, every time I'm like, wow, this is getting cool. Like, here we go. He up. The dragon itself is S. It's a very cool looking dragon. It's like a mid fight at best with like a low high weapon. The theme is okay. It's nothing crazy, the OST. And so, like, yeah, who else is considered an elder dragon? Because when I think of elder dragons, I only think of Teostra, Kushala, Vaal, and Nurg.
Yeah, so Elder Dragon is a bit of an odd category. They have made it kind of nebulous on purpose. So there are a lot of, like, the bulk of them are very, like, traditionally, like, dragony dragons. But they also use it as a broad category to kind of encapsulate some monsters that are just very, very difficult for them to comprehend. So, yeah, you have Kushala, Teostra, Lunastra, and Xeno, which are, like, very dragony dragons. But they also categorize, like, Kirin and Zorah.
Yeah, which bothers me.
Yeah. So there are, like, there's elder dragons, and then there's, like, elder dragons, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I'll say it like this then. He's the worst of the 4 endgame elder dragons. I don't think it's debatable.
I don't think most people will disagree with you.
He's not as fun as Anjanath. I probably will never fight him again. I don't think he's as cool as Tobi. I'm thinking low high.
Okay.
Is he cooler than Diablos? I would say just based off the way I've been talking about him, yes, he probably is cooler than Diablos. Oh, no, sorry. The way I've been talking about... What I meant to say was the way I've been talking about Diablos means that Diablo... Because I was talking much higher about Diablos than I was about Kushala.
Certainly.
Kushala is definitely a more fun fight than Kirin. So we'll move him up 1. Yeah, Kushala... texturally is a very visually appealing monster, but is not a fun fight at all.
Yeah, so for a little bit of history and context with this guy, Kushala has a bit of an unfortunate history. He is very much like the progenitor of the core Elder Dragon. So he's the flagship of, like, Monster Hunter Dose from, like, 2006, like Monster Hunter 2. So he comes in, he's the flagship of that game, and then that's the same game where Teostra and Lunastra show up. There's another one close to him called Chameleos, who's kind of in a tie, and then, like, Vaal Hazak has that same shape. A lot of other dragons have that shape, and then you have like another branching category. So Kushala's like the progenitor of like the fundamental Elder Dragon, which explains why he's like very dragony dragon. And his main gimmick is wind, and wind is a very difficult thing to make fun in Monster Hunter because it is meant to be like kind of like movement denying. annoying and kind of like very defensive. So they used to have some interesting mechanics where like could shut down he used to have like a very prominent aura of wind around him, and you could shut it down with poison, you could shut it down with breaking off certain body parts. There were like gaps in the wind armor that you could hit, so it was kind of like a puzzle boss. So it was still a little annoying, but you could like figure out the puzzle boss mechanics and get through it. And they built him up a little bit over the games, and he got like a little bit more tornado spammy and a little bit more like wind reliant. And some of those attacks were really cool, but some of the ways he interacted with them weren't. And then World is very much kind of the apex of this kind of like mismanagement of his design, where they like you said, and you observed it perfectly, they coded him in such a way where he uses his tornadoes to hide, to spam, to disengage, to break away, and they are massive tornadoes that stay put for way too long, and he bitches out within them. He is coded in a way that is very obnoxious.
The only thing I like about the coding of his tornadoes is whenever my Palico would put down a Vigor Wasp, it put a tornado on it. And I think that's cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like where he would literally put down 2 tornadoes and then like hover in them and just like spit wind balls at me, I was like, bruh, like that was mad annoying.
Yeah.
And like I said, every time I was like, all right, this fight's kind of getting cool. Like he would do something dumb. And so like like I said, if the tornadoes just changed slightly, where like I said, the way I look at it is every phase of the fight is the monster getting more desperate. Mm-hmm. And it's often illustrated by the monster getting faster and louder. And so, like, I think that if, like, the tornado moved, but, like, it was only one and it didn't last as long, or, like, kind of like Kieran, where, like, it's like a row of lightning, if he launched a small tornado at you that, like, went in a straight line and dissipated. Xeno, Vaal, and Teostra feel like elder dragons. Nergigante is just kind of a big spiky dragon who just doesn't do anything but like hit you and like physically hit you. Kushala feels like an elder dragon because like it's a dragon that can summon a tornado. Like how much more elderly and, you know, elderish and strong and like, you know, mythic can you get than that? And then they're dumb. So, like, at least when, like, some of the other Elder Dragons, like, freaking Xeno'jiiva's like, beaming at you, that's a whole, like, you heard my reaction, you know, when it first happened. So, like, the fact that they gave him such a cool idea and then made it so dumb is, like, come on. Like, they shot themselves in the foot. Like, that fight could be so cool, so much easier. There's so much little you would have to change. We keep saying they coded it so poorly and made it so stupid.
Yeah. I'm sure you've been seeing it because they've been talking about this a lot in chat currently. The redemption arc he is going to get in Rise is going to surprise you. It's
good, because I think he's cool. I want him to be cool.
Big overhaul. All right. Teostra.
Yeah, he's wicked. I'll start with the good again. Before I get to the bad. His bad is significantly less than the Kushala's bad.
Okay.
Visibly, very cool monster. Very different. You know, I like the lion-esque part of him. The wings are cool. I like some of his more elder-ish, what I would say godly moves. Like I love when he flies up into the air and does like the supernova. That's really visibly cool, and it like hurts and it punishes you as it should because it has like a 10-second timer. He's not unbeatable, but he is hard, and you do have to like think about it, and you actually have to like, you know, it's a tough fight. I wouldn't call him a wall. I didn't really have many walls, but to be fair, the first time I fought them when they would have been walls, I had 3 people with me.
Yes.
So by the time I came back around to tier list them, I was a level 49 hunter with, you know, high rank armor and master rank armor. Yeah, he's S. He's S tier for sure. He's the second. Okay. Aesthetically, he's the second coolest, but he might not be like the second coolest looking Elder Dragon. His moves are very fun. He has multiple different moves. He does more than just swing his tail. He's fun, and you actually have to prepare for him.
Yep.
The bad is extremely obvious. He has bottom 2 worst armor in the game.
Yeah, I know you don't like the armor.
It's better. It's significantly better than Lunastra. I do not like the Clockwork Knight armor.
I have never loved this set. I'm right with you.
I understand the knight armor. He is supposed to be like a king. So like I get the vibe. Clockwork for some reason, like steampunk armor is rough.
Yeah, no, it's like
I don't get it. I don't know why it's his.
For whatever, it's like the cogs don't look good, and like the little teeny tiny baby bib doesn't look good. If it was exact same armor, it was just like a basic ass cape, it'd be good. And that's that's where the master rank goes.
If they just made him Red Knight of the Round Table, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, his armor is rough at best. The helmet's okay. It's close. It's closer to being okay armor, but I still wouldn't be caught dead wearing it, and I definitely think it's one of the worst high rank armors around. His swords and stuff are fine. I'm sure. Look up some weapons. Just Google Teostra weapons, because like his long sword is just a red katana, which is fine.
It's very it's like a very like ceremonial type of sword.
Which again, he's like a king, and I get it. It's like the royal thing, but that's wicked cool.
That's it. Yeah.
Rise.
Yeah, it's not in the world, but I'll pull it up anyway. You can look at it. There's a lot.
The horn is cool. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't love the armor. I think the armor is bad. I haven't looked at any of the skills at any of these armors. I'm just going visually.
Sure.
Yeah, it's rough. But like his moveset is creative. I really like his big like godly punishing attack. It's something done right. It's like his version of tornadoes, but it actually works.
Yeah. He's
got aura. He's cool. He is S, but he's not going to crack the top 4. I do think he is. I definitely like Radobaan more. So I think right at the end is where I would put him.
Cool. I'm very happy he got into your S.
Yeah, the armor is not enough to hold him back. However, Lunastra armor is just heinous. I'll let you get your off if you want to talk about Teostra first, if you have anything to say.
Sure, yeah. I've told this story before. But I have a really good story with him. It's very similar to like the Devil Joe one, but it's first game I fought him in was Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PSP. So it's a little older than the first game I played, but like I went back, bought a PSP, played an older Monster Hunter game because I just like at that time I had to play more of these. Those like old Elder Dragons had a really cool gimmick that tragically they haven't done in 5th generation, and I really hope they bring back. They had a repel timer on their quests, so if you did enough damage but didn't kill them, the Elder Dragon would leave the map. They would go to a different map. So if you fought him in the desert and you didn't kill him in the desert, he'd go to the volcano and he would retain the part breaks that he would have. So if you say you fought Teostra in the desert and you broke his wings, but he survived. So he'd go to the volcano and his wings would stay broken. And that was so cool to me. And so I'm not sure exactly 100% how the game was coded, but the way it was is you could keep fighting him until you won. You change maps back and forth and whatnot. And so the first Teostra I ever fought, I tracked down and fought again. Due to coding, it might not have technically been 1-to-1, and maybe there was a reset at one point. I'm not entirely sure. But in my head, and in the story that I tell, I tracked down and fought the same dude, the same Teostra, over 4 fights, across the world, back and forth between the desert and the volcano, bouncing back and forth. It took me 4 fights to bring him down because the health carried over and the breaks carried over. So in my head, it was the same dude, it was the same opponent. And I had lions had been my favorite animal since I was 7, and this is a big fire breathing lion dragon dude, so that really solidified. It was perfect storm, favorite animal, super cool fight, all that. And then they've been really nice to him in terms of his development. So unlike Kushala, where they kind of got into the gimmick and they've had a really rocky time kind of figuring it out until thankfully Rise has really kind of started to iron things out. Teostra, they just kind of they kept building and they kept building, and the changes just were never bad. So he went from having his dust explosion and his flamethrower and a couple of charge attacks, and then he got his supernova in 4, and then when 5th generation rolled around, they properly rolled in blast, which Brachydios introduced. So they introduced these shifting states to him, where he'd have a fire mode and a blast mode, and he'd do the same attacks, but they'd have different properties. And they've built him out. It's just been such a great relationship between, because he keeps coming back and they keep building him really well. And I just the first hunt was so magical because there was nothing else I'd ever experienced like that. It doesn't matter if there's other dragons that look cool cooler. Doesn't matter if there's other monsters with like better fights. Like, no, that's locked. Like, he's my guy. He's my buddy forever. So yeah,
He has fooled me. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know you liked him.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, he's sick. Yeah, like I'm definitely curious. See, I think I joined at a really good time, right?
For sure.
Because World is a prominent game still.
Mm-hmm.
Another game is out, so by the time I finish this game, I will be able to slide right into Rise, and by the time I'm done, quote unquote, with Rise, I probably will be right before Wilds.
Yeah, very likely.
So, like, I came in at a really good time that I get to play all three of the newest games, like, back to back to back. I'm very excited. I'm shocked at how much I love these games. I've been really sick, so I haven't been playing, like, on my own, but, like, if I wasn't sick, I would definitely be... I haven't been playing anything, but, like, I am shocked at how much I love these games.
All right, so let's talk about his wife.
You know what I want to know? Okay, so this may be a stupid question to people in the chat. You know how it is, like, Radobaan or Uragaan, and they're related by they're family related. Why does Lunastra have a? I guess it's Lunastra and Teostra, so it's like close enough. But like, why do some monsters like seem super similar, but they have like different names, like Lunastra, Teostra, or Uragaan, Radobaan? Why does like Lavasioth and Jyuratodus like not in the same family, but they look almost identical?
They're probably very close. I don't think they're that close.
That's crazy. I've already revealed my big secret, blue.
Yeah, you do like the blue.
Blue is cooler. However, the fight is not as cool.
Mm-hmm.
She is severely more bullshit. I did not particularly enjoy fighting her alone. I had fun with you guys because it was fun to like plan and like prepare.
Yeah.
Fighting her alone kind of sucked. She has some bullshit hitboxes. Her supernova's a little different. You know, like I don't love the fight. And this is without a shadow of a doubt, bottom 3 armor in the game. It is terrible.
This one?
Terrible. That could be the best armor in the game, and it could give me 600 health, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. It is so ugly. It's like Clockwork Knight, but instead of being a Clockwork Knight, you're like a Clockwork Jester. No, it's like ugly and weird. That armor, that picture is doing it justice because it has like cool colors. If you look at it in the game, it is terrible. Worst monster in base world. Relax. Especially the hitboxes are just terrible. Like
the tail one is horrible.
The tail is crazy. You talk about 20 feet of grace. I mean, you could be in another room and it hits you. Like some of the, like I feel like her supernova goes a little too far and it's not visually as big. So like that hitbox is annoying. The best way I could put it is I felt like they were like, you know what we could do? Instead of doing like the usual thing where they were like, let's make Black Diablos and have him be hit harder. I feel like they tried to like manufacture difficulty instead of making her a wall where you like, oh man, like a perfect example. The best wall in all of video games is the first big boss in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
When you try to cross in to the actual like castle. One of the brothers.
Margit is that one.
Yeah, Margit. You hit him and you're like, wow, I need better gear. I need better stuff. I need to get better. When you get to like Lunastra, it's almost like they made her harder for the sake of her being harder, like manufactured difficulty. They didn't make her harder so that way you need to get better and like prepare. They like made her harder by like making her stupid, and like they made her kind of bullshit. Like the hitboxes are bigger and like stupidly bigger. Her attacks aren't bigger than Teostra, but they have just bigger hitboxes and they come stupidly fast and they come without warning. I feel like that's not good difficulty. They didn't make her a wall. They made her, like I said, the best wording is manufactured difficulty. It's not real difficulty. It's like they made her difficult by making her dumb. I just don't like that. The armor is bad. Visually, she is cooler than Teostra. I like blue. Go to the list. We're talking high, but a lot of it is just because of the vibe of like the wife and the blue, and it's, you know, cooler looking Teostra. But I would say the fight is really bad and the armor is really bad, and I don't think it's enough to save it from I don't think it's enough to save it from high. I think it needs to be in mid. I don't feel like it was actually more difficult. They just made her hit harder for the sake of hitting harder. I think it's high mid. The queen of high mid. It's definitely not as boring as Rathian and like the like game ruining, but it is bad. And her Nova is super annoying. It's a shame because I do think she is cooler. I like how she has less hair on her head and it's more lion-y, and I like the horns better. But the fight is just bad. I did not have that much fun. It was fun together. With a group, it's fun, but it is not fun alone. That is for certain.
I think two things can be true at once. Number one, Lunastra does have objective failings. I think some of the artificial difficulty claims are warranted. Her tail hitbox is broken. It's bad. It's disjointed. It doesn't work. The Nova is overtuned. It's a little bit too much damage. It's a little bit too big. Yes, I agree with both of those. The second thing is also true. Lunastra does have gimmicks that require a bit of a build. And if you're not gonna go for a bit of a build, I think you're a little bit of a weenie. You can gem in wind resistance into this game mad easily, and that can take care of the wind boxes on the tail and the wind boxes on the Nova. So you can actually very easily save yourself from being melted by the Nova. The fireproof mantle and fire resistance are also in the game, absolutely. So you can mitigate the damage of her Nova extremely easily. There are ways to get around that. Does that mean that there's not some broken stuff? Does that mean that there's not some overtuning in some of the damage? Does that mean that there's not a little bit like too much AoE fire? No, there is, again, some objective flaws, but I think she is very outmaneuverable. She is very buildable. She is very countable. The other thing, the thing that she has that Teostra doesn't is she has an animation where she charges her Nova that you can interrupt. Unlike Teostra, you can stop her from doing her Nova if you are persistent enough, if you get on top of her. So her big bullshit super attack, you can stop. She can never do it if you can get on top of it properly. So I think that there is absolutely ways to lock her down, to figure her out, to plan it out. She is a DLC monster, so I understand why she is tuned. I do think they overdid it in a couple of departments, but I also think that Monster Hunter is historically a game series where you have monsters that have gimmicks that necessitate armor skills to go around them. World was never good about getting you to build in defensive skills, except for maybe Vaal Hazak with his effluvium negate, because that can chop your health bar. Other than that, there really wasn't a lot of monsters that necessitated skills. Lunastra comes out, and Lunastra kinda necessitates skills. A lot of world players don't do that because they look up builds on YouTube.
Yeah, which is, yikes. Make it yourself. Use your eyes.
I think you can lock her down. I think you can make her manageable. I think you can make her learnable. I think you can counter all of her gimmicks and not lose a ton of skill slots because World is particularly generous with them. At the same time, yes, I agree. She does have problems. I do think some World players are meanies, though.
Yeah. Zerberus did say, and I agree with this, I'm glad they didn't just make blue Teostra.
Yes, that is what she was in her original. They had the exact same moveset blow for blow.
Black Diablos is just Diablos, but black and hits harder. At least Lunastra's a little different.
I do want them to bring her back. I do want them to rein her in a bit, but I don't want them to neuter her into the ground. I do think there are changes that do need to be made, but I'm hoping that they don't neuter her into the ground, because I think she does have a little bit of Spirit of Monster Hunter. We're like, oh, this is annoying, but this skill counters that. Okay, now we're locked in. I have to compromise a little bit on damage, but we're locked in. We're good. Now the fight's a little bit more fun. So I think there is a tug and a pull, and I think there is a rebalancing that needs to be done, but I don't think that she is the miserable, unassailable trash pit crap that some people think she is. I think anyone who makes that claim is a bit of a wiener. That's my piece.
Okay, we're almost done.
Yeah, couple more entries.
Is that Vaal? I can't tell.
That is Vaal Hazak.
Vaal Hazak, amazing aesthetic monster. Very cool theme, a very cool gimmick about the wearing the flesh and the effluvia and the, I affectionately call AIDS.
Affectionate.
Like the vibe of Vaal Hazak is crazy, and I like the way his like personality, how he just kind of like swims in and saunters around and like whatever, and like he couldn't give two you were there, and he's for a dragon that is covered in carcasses and flesh and disease, like he's very passive, and I kind of like that about him. I kind of like how elegant he is. The armor is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the coolest armor in the game for high rank. I think that armor is that friggin' Death Rider Nazgul armor is just unbeatable. That is the coolest armor ever, especially me, because I ran Dragon for everything. So with my Devil Joe Hammer and my Devil Joe Greatsword and my Dragonbone Stabber, it was amazing for me to get Dragon Attack 15. I was maxed out on Dragon Attack. The weapons are cool. Like one of his great swords or long swords is like a scythe kind of looking thing. However, the fight is not good. It's actually trivial. If you don't have effluvia resistance, it is minorly annoying. But if you do have effluvia resistance, it's not even a fight. He doesn't hit particularly hard. He doesn't have many creative moves. What I call the AIDS beam, when he does that, it is visually very cool. It looks cool, but like besides that, what does he do? His fight is just kind of him diving at you, occasionally swinging his tail and like going on his back legs and slamming down. But that slam down attack, if you have effluvia resistance, is like absolutely negligible. I mean, it's ignorable. So like if you don't have effluvia resistance, yes, it's kind of nice having something that could threaten your life like that, the effluvia. Like that's fine, but like the fight itself is really not good. I really wish the fight was difficult. I really wish that he was more difficult, because he is such like an evil entity visually. If you look at just the picture on your screen, I mean, he's like scary. He sleeps on a pile of bones. He sleeps on a body, like a bunch of bodies. Like, but the fight is really easy, and like grinding him is so stupidly easy. I wish his fight was harder. I wish he was more creative. The monster is an S. The armor and weapons are S, but the fight is like low mid at best. It's really not anything to write home about at all. It's bad. So is that enough to drag him out of S? I don't know. I like him a lot, visually, aesthetically. I think, sadly, the fight is gonna drag him out of S and probably put him in high above Anjanath. No, not above Anjanath.
Yeah, the way you were talking about him, I kind of figured.
I just want more, man, and I think you've kind of alluded to the same thing. Like, his fight is really not anything to write home about. It's probably not as dramatic as I'm being, but like, yeah, I just feel like it's like a lot of what he does is just not important and kind of negligible. And then once you put on effluvia resistance, why is he may as well just kill himself. Yeah, so let me check my notes, see what I wrote exactly. I wrote, sick arena, sick looks, physically cool looking. This is a good point. Once you fight him once, he loses his luster. I mean, he really, like, you fight him once, you fought him 100 times. He doesn't do anything different any other times. And effluvia resistance is just, like, killer. So, yeah, like, I don't know. I want the fight to be more. The ecology is fine, like I'm sure it is. S-tier monster, S-tier most things, A-tier theme. He has a great theme, I will say that. That's kind of why he's sticking it high. But, yeah, the fight's really not good at all. It's not as annoying as, like, a Kushala fight, but Kushala's harder, but it's also more pull.
They leaned too hard into his one mechanic. Because effluvia is spooky. It is dangerous. But they leaned like so hard into it being so dangerous and so spooky that they like overcompensated by making the rest of the moveset piddly baby easy. Like if you can get around effluvia, you can just kind of kick the out of him. He's slow. He's super telegraphed. He doesn't have anything. Even if he is slow and he is telegraphed, it's not like his moves are like super cool. The coolest thing he does is like the thing where like pretend knocks himself out and then does like a really quick wake up attack beam that does a lot of damage. That's kind of tough, and that just like does damage. But he does that like twice a fight. He's just so slow and so easy, and they just like they overcompensated on him having a tough gimmick, and it stinks because he's really cool. He's aesthetically really cool, and his fight theme is awesome, and I wonder how if they'd want to bring him back, because he seems like so rooted to the Rotten Vale. So like getting him back to like fix things up, I don't know what they would want to do. So I hope like he's not like a one and done with a mid fight.
I fought him 100 times, but it was only because I wanted his armor. Like, I didn't fight him because like I was having fun. I fight Legiana because it's fun. I fight Devil Joe because it's fun. I don't fight him because it's fun. Like I said, everything else is cool. S tier for most things. The arena, the vibe, him, certain moves are cool. The armor is S tier. Like everything screams S tier. But the fight is like 8 steps behind, so like I can't put him in S because it's that bad. It's that bad is dramatic. It's that boring, I would say. So yeah, I'm pretty confident where I put him. He's kind of getting carried by the aesthetics, but I'm okay with it.
Sure. All right, so we are at Zorah Magdaros.
I'm definitely not going to pan it as much as people said I was going to. People earlier in the chat were like saying that it's Garbo tier, and I don't think it's Garbo tier. The monster, okay, so this is another not defining mechanic that I think is very important. Big is not defining mechanic. You can't just be big and then automatically be cool. You know what I mean? Like just because you're big does not make you Godzilla. Walking volcano, kind of tough. The droopy, like, face tar and mud, I don't love it. It's fine.
He looks like, I compared him, it looks like he melted like a million tires all over him.
Yeah, he's like wet concrete, or like, you know, like paving, like a, you know, wet pavement, like freshly paved blacktop, goopy, like it's fine. The fight is terrible. I thought that, because when we fought it, Nate was using, you know, the All-Father Continent Splitter sword.
Oh, I wish we shouldn't have let him do that. That made that first fight so much worse.
Which I love that. He's like, I'm using on-level gear. Oh, yeah, what sword are you using? Oh, yeah, my Rarity 15 God-Shattering Star Sword.
Such a mistake.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Fighting it with you guys and having to wait running around on the Zorah Magdaros is more fun than fighting it alone. Fighting it alone sucked ass.
Yep.
He just stands there menacingly and does nothing. Roar, breaks a cannon. There's no NPCs to help you. They just all sit on the ship going, rah, get him, rah. You sit there, you hit him a couple times with a cannon, Nergigante shows up, you bonk him twice. He runs away. Like, the fight sucks. The fight sucks ass. The fight's Garbo, that's for sure. The monster itself is not that good. What he gets carried by is, I like his armor a lot. Yeah, I really like his Lord of the Rings looking ass armor. The one on the left, obviously. They did the woman dirty in this game. There's a lot of bad woman armor.
The female armors always get the short end of the stick in Monster Hunter, unfortunately.
They were like, chicks don't play this game. Yeah, I love his Lord of the Rings ass armor. I think it looks cool. It was honestly better with friends just because we could like talk, but like other than that, the fight itself was terrible. He's not terrible as a monster visually, and his armor is pretty cool, and he has some cool swords. But yeah, I mean, he's fine. Low mid. Low mid, high mid, around there somewhere. Let me take a look.
Yeah. All right. So low mid is Girros, Uragaan, and
yeah, he's cooler than those guys.
All right. So mid, the Rathians, Dodo, Jagras, Barroth.
He's better than Barroth.
Any further?
He's fine where he is.
Cool. Zorah's another unfortunate one. He's an interesting set piece. Like, he's kind of cool as, like, a story device. Some of the cutscenes that he gets have, like, a pretty good, like, pacing to them and, like, awe to them and whatnot. And he's, like, the driver of the plot and everything. It's kind of interesting. The lava caverns you fight him in at the end of low rank are kind of cool. They definitely kind of bit off a little more than they could chew with this guy, especially because they were changing around Monster Hunter so much. And then they're doing, like, this biggity, massive, scenic set piece type of fight, and that definitely compromised a lot of things, because it is confirmed in interviews that a whole entire year of development went into Zorah Magdaros. So I have a feeling that like some of the underbaked movesets and like some of the underbaked weapons kind of got a little compromised by Zorah Magdaros taking a year to be a bad fight. There's other siege fights like him. There's other siege fights that are also like very big and very slow and very plotting. What a lot of those ones do better though is that they don't divide up the part where you can like jump on the back and attack and whack them, and the part where you can like load up cannons and ballistas. You do those things at the same amount of time. So there's a bunch of like little mini tasks and like siege weapons you can manage to like shoot at the guy while you have other guys down the ground trying to like batter him with weapons. And it makes it like a little bit more dynamic. I think something in like how Zorah was set up and like the particulars of it made it so that they kind of had to divide him up. So there's a stage where you're loading up cannons and ballista, and then there's a stage when you're on his back like trying to chip away at the magma cores, and there's not like the dynamics. It feels like very sequential and very linear, and like if you pop those magma cores too early, you are just like hanging out on his back. May as well like kick back, go to the bathroom and get a drink because you're gonna be there for a minute.
Yeah, I don't love him.
All right. The most recent fight we did a whole stream dedicated to her. We have Kulve Taroth. You bet your ass I am. Don't even look at the share screen. Like, don't look. I have safe search on. It doesn't help. Just talk.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, look at the ceiling and talk.
Okay, I'm looking at my ceiling. I am looking at my. Oh no! Oh, there's. Okay. It is. It's a siege fight, but it's different. Since you actually have to like do things.
Okay, it's safe again.
You actually have to like do things to fight Kulve. However, it is. It's long. Man, I thought that fight was a little long. I was saying to myself when we were jumping in for like the third time and the fourth time, I was like, are we really doing this again? It didn't really get exciting until the third phase. Once you hit the third phase and she actually starts like doing things to fight back, like some of those, you know, like, yeah, you knock off chunks, whatever, and she just kind of like walks around and like lets you. Like, at least Zorah Magdaros, like, fought back. You know, like, it broke some cannons. Kulve just kind of, like, walks in circles, and, like, she's hard to find, and, like, that whole part of the fight kind of sucked. And like I said, I kind of was saying after, like, the second or third time, like, again? Like, okay. Visually, with the armor on, I really don't like the look. The head is great, like, the golden ram is cool, but, like, the weird, just kind of, like, pro skater ramp tail is kind of odd. I don't really like it at all. There's some cool visual effects of, like, yeah, like, the gold dripping from the ceiling and, like, stuff like that in the final phase. When the armor's off, she's sick. Super sick. One of the coolest looking monsters. I love it. But, like, everything else before that was kind of boring. Like, how many people could we have put in there? Maybe if there was more people, it might have been cooler, but, like, for three of us, it kind of sucked.
So, we will have an advantage when we run her back in Master Rank, because that's when I want to bring the community in. So, Kulve Taroth and Xeno'jiiva, who's the Master Rank Siege equivalent, though they both have Master Rank Sieges, they have a mechanic where they kind of have a shared health pool across the entire lobby, and lobbies max out at 16. So, ideally, what you do when the CGs come up and around is you get like a full lobby of 16, and you go in 4 separate instances of parties of 4, and you're like chipping away and working at the different body parts like in tandem. So if like Team A breaks one, then it counts for everybody. If Team B breaks another part, it counts for everybody. We ran the entire siege with 3 people out of a possible 16.
And that sucked. Once we got to like the third phase where we started dying, I was like, all right, like now we're cooking. The final phase was wicked cool. Final phase fight was so cool. The visuals of the room were cool. Like the arena was really cool. The moves were cool. I like some of like the flaming fire moves that she did. It was very cool. It's definitely a different looking monster. It's not, you know, it doesn't look anything like any other monster. The armor is cool. And I think the weapons are kind of dumb, though. Just putting gold plating on weapons, I wasn't really a fan of how that worked. I would have preferred to get like Kulve Taroth things to then go forth and build weapons that I liked and have them be a little more creative than just like, here's a bow gun and it's gold. Here's a bow and it's not gold for some reason. Here's a hunting horn and it's gold. And it's like, I would have preferred to get Kulve Taroth parts to build cooler, more interesting looking Kulve Taroth things. The armor is very cool. So it's definitely getting dragged down, mostly because of how boring the fight was. Again, that opinion can change just because of what Connor kind of just said. Visually, it's S without armor. If you kind of meh with armor, it's like high mid with armor. I don't really like the look. So what do you think? Do you think I should rank it at its best or like kind of go into the middle? Like, because I feel like ranking it at its best kind of ignores the worst, but I don't want to rank it at its worst because then that ignores how good it could be.
I say rank it how you feel currently, and we can definitely come back for reevaluation when we run it a little bit more properly.
Yeah, so the siege drags it down. So I'm gonna kind of go in the middle. So it's S without armor, and then like mid with armor. The fight itself is like at its best, it's an S tier fight, but at its worst, it's like it's mid again. I don't like mid high.
So here
above Tobi.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think your opinion will definitely change when we run it the more proper way.
It sounds like it. I definitely think that Vaal Hazak is a little cooler, and I definitely have a better history with Anjanath. So I think they do have the same pose. That's kind of funny, actually. So I'm gonna keep her there.
All right, 3 more to go. Starting with the final boss of World's Story, Xeno'jiiva.
I love Jello Dragon. It feels like a boss. It looks like a boss. It moves like a boss. It has boss-esque laser beams, and like it does things differently than like a lot of other monsters. So like it's very cool. The idea that it was like literally born to fight us is kind of tough as well. The OST is clean. The sound designs are really clean. The fire all over the ground, like the fire blotches, kind of get annoying. Definitely not my favorite part. Armor and weapons are like bonkers, like double S tier. Love the weapons. However, I feel very confident in saying this, that replayability is minimal, especially fighting it alone. I was like, wow, this is taking forever. You know, like, this is really slow. Fighting it with you guys was fun because it, like moved it along. Fighting it alone, though, was like, wow, like, this is taking its time. So, like, once I was able to build the Xeno'jiiva sword, I didn't really feel the need to go back because I didn't want to make... I liked my Vaal Hazak armor too much. But the armor is crazy good. The swords are crazy cool. The dragon itself is crazy cool. But the fight is a little lower. I still think that it's S. Just, it's being pretty hard carried by again, the visuals.
Which are amazing.
Which are nuts. I mean, the laser beams, it, like I said, looks like a boss, quacks like a boss, it is a boss. So I'm going to go S, but the fight is, you know, I do stand with the fight being not super replayable. Above Teostra.
Okay.
Above Radobaan.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Like I said, hard carried by the lasers, the visuals, the light show, the music, everything's very cool, feels like a boss, but like the replayability does... If it was a replayable monster, like, and I felt like I could go hunt it 100 times, oh, who knows? I mean, it could be top 2, top 3. But like the fact that I really don't feel like I ever want to fight it kind of drags it out of...
We didn't get around to doing them because we went right into Iceborne. If you are interested in maybe getting a more fun Xeno'jiiva, every single Elder Dragon in high rank got like these like super powerful forms that were basically like proto-master rank duels. And a couple of them, like Nergigante and Xeno'jiiva, got some legitimate like move upgrades and stuff like that, with like a couple like Teostra and Kushala got like a new move. We should do the arch-tempered versions of Xeno, Nergigante, and maybe actually Zorah, because those are like pretty interesting and kind of like different. You might enjoy that quite a bit, honestly.
Yeah, I've seen people say that. So yeah, I definitely stand by my opinion, but like the good is a lot better than the bad, that's for sure.
All right, let's get the 2 crossover monsters.
See ya. No, we got to talk about it, do we? Come on. I mean, I did end up going back and fighting it, and it was just terrible. I mean, like, pointless, dumb. Like, don't try to defend it. Like, it's
bad. The regular one's bad. I don't even think you did the bad one.
Yeah, oh man. I mean, I just like, wow. Like, what are we doing? And again, I understand, like, remember how it kind of came out that, like, in Smash, he was kind of forced to put Steve in the game. He didn't really want to put Minecraft Steve, but like he was kind of forced. So I understand that maybe there was some like higher up dealing saying like, no, we want Leshen in the game for some reason. There were so many better things they could have done.
Like actual monsters and not a tree spirit.
Yeah, like again, the Griffin, man. I mean, that one seemed so easy. You know, like that just seemed kind of like a layup. It's like I'm pretty sure the first monster you fight in the game of The Witcher 3, and it's just like that was the monster a table in a room full of people got with and said like, "Oh yeah, like that's him. Like let's do it." Really? Like he sucks. And it's like not fun, and then he like summons like minions to fight you, and it's like, holy please leave me alone. And then the first time you fight him, like not the ancient one, just Leshen, you're like Geralt, and it's like, why? I've never played The Witcher 3. Maybe someone can tell me that there's a better monster, or like maybe why they put Leshen in there, because I question it. Yeah, like there's definitely things they could have done that they just, I feel like, didn't, and it felt odd. It felt like Monster Hunter. It didn't feel like Monster Hunter, rather. It's bad. It's just bad in every way. I didn't have fun. It was not enjoyable. And I stand by my opinion, and I don't think anyone will really question me.
No, they won't. Nobody likes this thing. It stinks. It doesn't really fit Monster Hunter. It was kind of neat that they made like a Witcher quest out of it. Like I liked like the mechanic. Like it was kind of cool. The minions stunk. The crows and like the teleporting stunk. Like the fire burst stinks. It was fine, I guess. Didn't feel like a Monster Hunter fight like at all. Again, they like did some cool like unique shit. The quest itself, if you want to do like the side quests and everything. They butchered it in Monster Hunter. I'm sure they did, because it doesn't fit. It doesn't work. I'm sure there were plenty of other, like, perfectly monstery monsters that they could have put in. I'm guessing that Leshen is particularly iconic to Witcher. Again, Austin and I wouldn't know. We haven't played. Sucks. And then the Ancient Leshen is horrible. Like, it has a damage aura that does, like, 1 billion chip damage a second. It punishes, like, the use of certain tools. It's bad. Like, it's horrible. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. It sucks.
Yeah, and like I can't even speak to like was it like a well applied monster like from, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. And same thing for the next guy. I'm not a big Final Fantasy guy, so I can't really speak to like, well, like was he well represented from like what he really is, the source material? According to you guys, it doesn't sound like it. Griffin would have been like, that seemed like a layup. That seemed like an absolute layup. Like who do we need? Griffin, easy. Everything else is too like evil and demonic-y and like kind of odd and like not monster. Like that's a tree. That's not a monster. They can call it a monster all they want, but it's not. So he's terrible.
All right, let's wrap this up with Behemoth.
Again, just like I said, I don't know anything about him at all. I don't know if what he does in Monster Hunter is a representation of what he does in game. He's scary, that's for sure. He definitely made us sweat a little.
Oh yeah.
He's fun. I didn't realize I'd be ranking him. His armor is cool. It's different. It's not my favorite. It's like 80% cool. Like I wish it was a little cooler. He's fine. I think some of the big crazy moves he does is really cool. I think how beefy he is cool. I think they do the 2-step fight really cool. And like the meteor thing was scary, especially when you didn't know what's happening. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever really want to play him again. But he's very cool, and I think some of his giant moves are cool, so we're going to put him in high, but he's probably going to go into high, behind Vaal Hazak, just because, like, I don't know much about him. I didn't, like, some of his things are kind of painful, but, like, just, like, how big he is and, like, how intimidating he is, and, like, the armor is pretty cool, the music is crazy, the big meteor, like, move is, like, really tough. Not a lot of his fight is bullshit, but, like, there's some minor annoying things. The aggro mechanic is kind of rough. You know what? Let's slide him down to medium high behind Tobi. Yeah, because like he's cool, but like he's not. So that's kind of where I stand on that guy. He's fine. He's fun. He was fun that one time. Are you guys like even fans of crossovers? Like, do you guys like when you saw that there was going to be a Witcher crossover? And this is a question for you, Connor, I guess too. Were you guys like, oh yeah, like wow, crossover, like that's so cool. Like I love seeing other IPs in Monster Hunter. Or like, can you guys live without it?
I think so Behemoth was cool because Behemoth is like a big dog monster thing, and like the novelty of it was really sick when it came out. Like oh, it's like a Final Fantasy boss with like Final Fantasy music and like fonts and mechanic. Like that's kind of cool. Like that's kind of, and Behemoth is cool, and his fight's kind of fun. Witcher specifically, I kind of feel like they went a little bit too hard because they're like, you're going to play as Geralt, and like, okay, and you're gonna fight a tree man. Like, I think, like, the Leshen one specifically, I think it tried too hard. Behemoth tried at the perfect amount. Leshen tried too hard, I think.
Yeah, I thought the quest was a little annoying, personally. Like, the running around and collecting things. I think I could live without it. Like, I'm trying to think of a game where I'm like, ooh, yeah, crossover. Like, that's so cool. I think some of the funny, like, Call of Duty crossovers are fun, but, like, that's about it. I'm trying to think of a game like Monster Hunter that made me go, like, ooh. Did, Behemoth come first?
Yes.
Okay. I thought Leshen came first.
Yeah, no, Leshen was weirdly the final title update monster of base game world. It was very weird.
Odd. Yeah, like I said, they could not have been like, oh yeah, like this is it, like we got it, boys.
I think you might be right that it was like a contractual obligation, because in one of the interviews done for like the 20th anniversary, the director, I think, of Iceborne said like, oh, I kind of regretted that like the big bad final enemies of World were crossover monsters, and that's why like Alatreon and Fatalis, when we get there in Iceborne, are like cracked, because like, no dude, we need to like end on like our guys. Like, it's weird to not end on our guys.
Yeah, good stream, fellas. We had a pretty consistent we haven't like dropped below 75 in a while.
Yeah, no.
85. Someone said we hit 100.
We hit 100 for a little bit. Yeah, we crossed 100.
Crazy. Who's Nate and Sam? Who? Never heard of them.
Yeah, no. Dead weight, honestly. So, are we set like chess? Is there any final movements?
Yeah, I think I'm set like chess. After the fight with Legiana I had yesterday, I kind of was like, yeah, that's it. That's number one. That was so fun.
Pretty decent spread, all things considered.
Yeah, and apparently, like people were saying, I wasn't crazy off base on a lot of them.
No, yeah, you have a couple of takes that are a bit higher or a bit lower than some people would go for, but it really wasn't the most... This is not like the most... There's nothing on here where I'm like, oh, like, geez, like, that's weird that you thought that.
See, everyone acted like I was some unga bunga friggin' hippopotamus just with my knee jerk. Walter said this is the best list he's seen.
There's some bad ones. All right, folks. I think we're good. I think we're locked in. You guys have been the best. Thank you very much for a fantastic day, sticking with me. Thank you very much to Austin for tuning in and putting in like some really good due diligence. I feel like we had like a really like genuinely good conversation tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, this was a very intellectual conversation. I loved it.
All right.
I'm glad I got to show more than my like knee-jerk unga bunga side, and like I actually got to validate some opinions.
Hell yeah, brother. All right. I will bid you all...
Good night, gentlemen.
Bid you all good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening, day, whatever. We will talk to you soon. Love ya. Take care. Shout out to all the patrons, and special shout out to Nihilist Chimerax, Datboy Doinderding, Sir Newt Newt, Peaberry, Stefan Colleen, Shaggy Grizzly, Pecco Plush, Daniel Delasarte, and Call Sign Shadow. Thank you very much, everyone.